Su Xing continued to forge and grind the fire element flying sword Jian Feather. Because Dong Junqing used her Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow skill, Zhao Hanyan was completely drained of all energy and had no choice but to rest. Although Shi Yu rallied after ingesting the soul, she was still apparently unconscious. Hua Wanyue and Gong Sun Huang each sat cross-legged, on guard. Rat Star Bai Yutong turned her large, adorable eyes to watch what her papa, elder sister, and mama were doing. The little lowly was not idle and brewed wine nearby, but because the White Tiger territory's terrain was unfavorable, Bai Yutong's brewing was not too successful. Squeak, squeak. Bai Yutong's star beast, the essence spirit rat, lay atop the little lowly's shoulder. Suddenly, it smelled something and looked at a corner. The essence spirit rat squeaked a few times, then quickly climbed down her shoulder and entered the forest. Bye-bye. Bai Yutong shyly called out, but the essence spirit rat had penetrated into the forest. Bai Yutong stood up and jogged in pursuit, her mouth softly calling, "Bye-bye, don't run." Gong Sun Huang cocked her head, seeing Bai Yutong leave. She then glanced at His Highness Su Xing. Because all of his attention was placed on forging the flying sword, Su Xing did not notice. Bye-bye, bye-bye. Bai Yutong chased for 100 meters, bursting out of a fire leaf bush. The essence spirit rat turned its head back and squeaked, hopping on top of a fire-red fruit. "Don't run off, Pop'll get mad." Bai Yutong crawled over, grumbling. The essence spirit rat squeaked back. When the little lowly looked to see that fruit, her innocent eyes were pleasantly surprised. This looks like it can ferment into an earth-rank wine. Bai Yutong inspected this fruit. Up until this stage, Bai Yutong was already able to brew earth-rank wine, but the materials she needed were very demanding. Papa was very busy, and Bai Yutong did not wish to bother him, so this earth-rank wine was put on the back burner. Her star beast essence spirit rat was able to smell the scent of any material for wine, so that was why the rat ran out. Oh! Bai Yutong's little face blushed from happiness as she carefully harvested the fruit. But at this moment, a blood shadow shot out. This blood shadow was extremely indistinct, hidden among the underbrush. After Bai Yutong picked the fruit, it finally showed itself. But just as it was about to attack Bai Yutong, a saber light swung over and slashed this blood shadow apart. This blood-intoxicating aroma is used too as a cure-all for healing injuries. Never thought you would find it. Rat Star Daylight Rat by Xing. To surprisingly see such an adorable little sister, your servant truly does not dare believe it. However, you must be careful in the White Tiger territory. A slightly weak voice suddenly spoke. Bai Yutong was frightened and snapped around. She saw a woman dressed in white looking at her with a gratified expression. The woman held a gourd of wine. There was still a bit of leftover fragrance. Bai Yutong seemed familiar with her. Your servant is Bright Star Daredevil third brother Shi Xiu. Shi Xiu walked over. She was completely without killing intent. Gazing at this adorable little lowly, there was not way she could have any killing intent. Can you give this blood-intoxicating aroma to your servant to use? The truth was that after she parted from Su Xing, Shi Xiu still felt unable to compose herself. Thus she stealthily tailed Su Xing. She waited to see the final outcome, to understand this man's true face. Shi Xiu had lived in the White Tiger territory for so long, concealment and tailing were like the back of her hand, so no one noticed her. After what happened, although Shi Xiu did not understand much, she more or less vaguely realized a bit of something. After the clinging heaven vermilion Jian, the teamwork of the Star Generals had amazed this wisdom star again and again because it appeared that those exceptional women at this man Su Xing's side were each unique. Although she did not see Lin Chong, the hero star, leisure star, and steadfast star's formation made Shi Xiu feel disbelief. Especially for the latter, that steadfast star surprisingly used her Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow skill for this man. The riddle was not solved and had instead become even more mysterious. After she saw Bai Yutong sneak away, Shi Xiu only revealed herself because she was quite fond of this innocent little sister. Elder sister, Bai Yutong shyly said. Shi Xiu showed Bai Yutong no killing intent at all, and the little lowly did not sense any danger. On the contrary, she felt that this very feral elder sister in front of her was very cordial. Can you give this blood intoxication aroma to your servant? Of course, if you do not consent, your servant absolutely will not force you. Shi Xiuxiu said. Bai Yutong lowered her head to look at the blood intoxication aroma in her hand, seeming very fond of it, but when she saw Shi Xiuxiu's not-so-optimistic state of injury, the little lowly could not bear it. Looking back and forth several times, the little lowly finally decided to open her palm. Elder sister, here. Thank you. Shi Xiuxiu stroked Bai Yutong's hair, tenderness appearing in her heart for the first time. Shi Xiuxiu placed the blood intoxication aroma into her mouth and chewed. Having lived in the White Tiger territory for so long among the vegetation, she discovered some grasses were natural medicines for healing wounds. This blood intoxication aroma was a particularly rare kind. It was able to quickly restore blood and congeal wounds, speeding recovery. Although Shi Xiuxiu had ingested many medicines, her injuries were still not completely recovered, otherwise she would not have made such a request. As she chewed the blood-intoxicating aroma, Shi Xiuxiu's forehead twisted. Although the blood-intoxicating aroma was very good at restoring her circulation, there was a flaw. As this herb's name suggested, it was very painful as it circulated the body. Elder sister, drink this. Bai Yutong held out a white wine bottle. Shi Xiuxiu looked at her and slightly smiled. Without any suspicion about the wine inside the bottle, she drained it in one gulp. After the wine washed down her throat, the pain over her whole body suddenly vanished, making Shi Xiuxiu astonished. Is this your yellow rank wine? Bai Yutong nodded. It was worry-free without a care. Thanks, to have a little sister like you truly is your servant's good luck. Shi Xiuxiu happily said. Bai Yutong lowered her head in embarrassment, suddenly making Shi Xiuxiu feel she was even more adorable. Your servant must repay you. You must have wanted this blood-intoxicating aroma to brew an earth-rank wine, right? Shi Xiuxiu very easily deduced, although this blood intoxication aroma is good, it is a bit lacking as material for brewing an earth-rank wine. Your servant knows a place. It has many unkayu wine grasses, and your star beast may be able to find something even better. Are you willing to go together with your servant? Shi Xiuxiu smiled and asked. But Papa will worry about Tang Tang. Bai Yutong said. With your servant protecting you, there is no need to be afraid. If that man truly loves you, then he should not be treating you like a canary in a cage. We are star generals. No sister should rely on a man, you know? Tanging, this is our pride. As a naturally battle-crazed star general, Shi Xiuxiu had very hot-bloodedly projected lofty and heroic traits onto the innocent Bai Yutong. Although she heard battle and pride, Tang Tang only half understood. However, she still received her hot-blooded feelings. Did you not want to help do something for your papa? Then this is a good chance. Shi Xiuxiu continued to say. Tang Tang wants to help papa. Bai Yutong nodded, her expression very serious and earnest. Although her yearning day and night helped all of her elder sisters, the aftereffects nevertheless trapped those elder sisters completely in the star nest with no way out. Bai Yutong had seen this, and she was similarly worried. However, a weak, low-ranking star general like her was not like Gong Sun Huang, who was strong in magic energy, nor was she as swift of mind as the other sisters. Thus, Bai Yutong did not know what she could do. For that man to be able to have you, he truly is fortunate. All right, then let us give him a pleasant surprise together. Shi Xiuxiu said. Shi Xiuxiu tugged Bai Yutong's little hand and was just about to leave. An arrow stopped her. Along with it was a quite unhappy voice. Daredevil third brother, I still feel that you are upright and frank as a hero. I even thought highly of you, however, I never imagined that you would shamelessly lure Tang Tang away. This truly is extremely disappointing. Hua Wanyue gracefully brushed back a lock of her long hair. She gazed calmly and keenly at Shi Xiuxiu. Tang Tang, come here now. Hua Wanyue motioned. Mama Wanyue. Bai Yutong happily smiled. Hua Wanyue's expression immediately softened greatly. You left without permission, which will make Milord very worried. If you want to find something, we can help you. Could it be that you do not believe in us? Hero Star, so you do. Your servant never thought that you would surprisingly recognize a contractor. Sure, Xiao said casually, bursting into a guffaw. However, Tang Tang wants to help Su Xing. You are obstructive and worried. Could it be that you are underestimating your own little sister? Sure, Xiao, do not speak so glibly. Milord is very concerned with Tang Tang, but he has never viewed Tang Tang as a tool to brew wine. No wine is worth Tong Tong's safety. Hua Wanyue said indifferently. Tang Tang, what is your choice? Will you obediently pamper yourself in your papa's embrace, or will you send him a bottle of wine while he is very tired? Sure Xiao lowered her head and asked. Sure Xiao. Hua Wanyue glared. Even wants to help Papa. Bai Yutong lowered her head. This is what a good sister is. Hua Rong, you should be at ease. With your servant here, she absolutely will be safe. And your formation over there right now is not optimal. If Rat Star Bai Yutong refines her Earth rank wine, that will be very beneficial to you, right? Sure Xiao smiled. Sure Xiao. Even though Milord saved your life, you nevertheless lead Tang Tang astray. I truly am not worth Milord. Hua Wanyue could not be at ease. Although Sure Xiao sounded pleasant, the White Tiger territory was very dangerous. This daredevil third brother's temperament was eccentric. Hua Wanyue was not willing to take a risk. If Su Xing knew that Tang Tang was gone, perhaps he would flip the White Tiger territory upside down. Today, so long as I am here, do not think you will have your way. Hua Wanyue shouted. Her bowstring creaked. An arrow fired. Mama Wanyue. Bai Yutong was distressed, evidently not wanting to see the two fight. To attack right in front of such an adorable little sister, this is too dreadful. Your servant also wants to fight you, Hero Star. Sure Xiao was not afraid of any provocation. On the contrary, she already wanted to test herself against the sister who was absolute in bow and spear. Tang Tang, rest well for now. Sure Xiao gently said and pushed pressure point. Bai Yutong's eyelids suddenly felt heavy. Mama, don't fight, the little lowly muttered and fainted. Hero Star, your servant's true name is Sure Xiao. Let us compete. Wanyue obliges. 1. Hua Wanyue. Hua Wanyue rapidly drew her bow. That arrow was like a meteor, maneuvering for Sure Xiao's flank. Sure Xiao launched her attack even more quickly. She leapt up in an instant. Her speed had been trained in the White Tiger territory to the point of perfection, her realm to excellence. This maneuver was as fast as a beam of light. Hua Wanyue's archery was very strong. There was no need to doubt this. If she was a million li away, even the strongest martial general would feel absolutely terrified, but at such a close distance, Hua Wanyue's archery could not properly flourish. Let alone that the opponent this time was daredevil third brother Sure Xiao, the wisdom star who trained in the White Tiger territory for so long. Her martial arts realm was very incredible, and even if her body was injured, she was still unleashing such powerful force. She was very clear about the hero star's weakness. She continuously evaded several arrows. The 7 colors goose feather saber spun, and then it slashed downwards. Hua Wanyue used her heaven earth sun moon bow to block it. Against her reactions, Sure Xiao was endlessly impressed. The hero star appeared to be formidable indeed, but since she was the absolute in spear and bow, Sure Xiao's attempt would not finish so simply. She continuously attacked, swinging her saber again and again. The white blade flit by. Hua Wanyue's body directly backflipped. Her arm felt numb, and the girl's face could not help but show shock. She was somewhat astonished at the power upon Sure Xiao's saber. With a growl, Sure Xiu already swung her leg towards Hua Wanyue's head as she was stunned. The woman then spun, the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow in her hand also turning into a shield. Once again she warded off Sure Xiao's kick. While Sure Xiao's assault flowed quick as mercury, Hua Wanyue's display was already far beyond Sure Xiao's anticipation. Although her attacks were not as deadly or swift as before, Sure Xiao would not throw the fight. Each strike was a way to find footing for victory. Hua Wanyue made unimaginable movements again and again. Each step, each movement of her wrist was like a textbook, admirably accurate. As her name implied, she was graceful and lithe. Using movements that were frustratingly rational, Shi Xiuxiu's clearly superior speed nevertheless appeared slow. Bang! A white arrow fired. In the middle of her dodge, Hua Wanyue had surprisingly fired an arrow in that instant. Shi Xiuxiu leaned. The arrow grazed by her body. A graceful smile flit across Hua Wanyue's lips. Swift as lightning, another arrow was fired with even more speed. This one passed by Shi Xiuxiu's cheek, drawing a line of blood. Shi Xiuxiu's saber followed closely behind. Saber light was unsheathed from below, falling like frigid snow. Hua Wanyue was slashed, but when the hero star's body fell backwards, she once again drew her bow and continuously fired at the same time. However, the directions she aimed at nevertheless made Shi Xiuxiu greatly surprised. They were on either side of her, completely away from her. Is this for real? Shi Xiuxiu immediately sensed that there was a reason for Hua Wanyue's complacent grin. The arrows that flew out turned and surprisingly pincer attacked Shi Xiuxiu, as if they had grown eyes. The brilliance of this archery made Shi Xiuxiu very impressed, and this unexpected left and right archery succeeded in stopping Shi Xiuxiu's assault. With no time to think, Shi Xiuxiu's body paused. The 7 colors goose feather saber slashed repeatedly. She gave up on attacking, smashing the incoming arrows to pieces with all her power. A numbing pain issued from her hands. It appeared this power could not be underestimated. Watch dance through the willows. Hua Wanyue raised her hand, stopping in midair. The hero star fully displayed her wonderful and poetic archery, continuously flashing and breaking through space. She instantly fired, as if she was a butterfly among flowers, somersaulting in the air. The arrows continued to spin as they drew odd trajectories, flying towards Shi Xiuxiu. A brilliant willow blossomed in front of her eyes. Shi Xiuxiu did not dare underestimate the hero star's yellow technique. She did not expect the hero star's archery was so formidable. To be able to wield such a perfect realm at such a close-range battle, she was not one bit inferior. With rapt attention, a clear saber light resonated. Shi Xiuxiu brandished the 7 colors goose feather saber, ray after ray of saber light producing waves, completely warding off Hua Wanyue's willow arrow. Yellow rank saber technique. Water ripple 100 turns. A new yellow rank. To surprisingly force her to devise a new yellow rank technique using a bow at close range, Shi Xiuxiu was shocked. Generally speaking, each of the heaven, earth, dark, and yellow techniques of a star general were their own specialty. It was very rare, normally speaking, not more than for 1 or 2, but there were times when at extremely critical moments, a star general would occasionally have an epiphany and create a new technique. However, the creation of a new technique often required dire circumstances. At the same time, it needed significant luck. Shi Xiuxiu had stayed in the White Tiger territory for so long, yet she did not create any second yellow ranks at all. Daredevil third brother finally could discern that the hero star before her eyes indeed had the qualifications to become an arrogantly powerful martial general. She was not the simple archer Shi Xiuxiu had initially thought her to be. Perhaps she was another type of specialized adept. Hua Wanyue continuously soared. She was apparently aware that Shi Xiuxiu's advantages were speed and powerful close-range strength. She made out of the ordinary movements among the trees. Each tree was like a springboard for her. Following her movements, the arrows were endlessly launched. Shi Xiuxiu gave chase, relying on her sharp saber technique to cut down each and every one of the arrows Hua Wanyue fired. Hua Wanyue suddenly turned around, her beautiful eyes especially fervent and resolute. The talisman script hovering around the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow suddenly spun. Dazzling arrows shot out with the ear-splitting speed of thunder, drawing a brilliant trajectory. In an instant, at least 100 arrows were fired. This was another dance through the willows. Hey, 2 yellow techniques. Shi Xiuxiu felt this was too over-exaggerated. As a top-notch heavenly star martial general, to use 2 yellow techniques in quick succession was honestly surprising. Arrows blotted out the sky, descending like a beautiful storm, more severe than the last time. If you did not dodge, there was only one ending, being inevitably turned into honeycomb. Rumble! The arrows filling the sky ignited blinding fireworks in this small grove. Extreme saber light and magnificent arrow light mixed together, immediately annihilating the place Shi Xiuxiu stood at. Hua Wanyue curled the corner of her lips. This time, she wielded her dance through the willows at its peak. Shi Xiuxiu perhaps could not be so easygoing. Just as she thought that, a giggle entered Hua Wanyue's ears. Amazing, as expected of the strongest arrow among the sisters. Hua Wanyue turned her head back in shock. Shi Xiuxiu grinned from behind her. How? Shi Xiuxiu took a deep breath. Hua Wanyue had underestimated the daredevil third brother's speed. Swaying her body, Shi Xiuxiu suddenly launched her attack, the 7 colors goose feather saber in her hands swinging. Hua Wanyue continuously used her bow to block, but this time, Shi Xiuxiu's saber technique had strange changes in direction, breaking Hua Wanyue's thoughts, cutting directly towards Hua Wanyue. Shi Xiuxiu descended, light as a breeze. Against the strongest arrow, your servant's strongest saber is unable to remain aloof, she said. Hua Wanyue clutched her belly, half rising, suddenly launching a high-speed attack. Arrow light suddenly appeared. The arrow this time turned into a net of countless light rays, shooting towards Shi Xiuxiu. From every angle, Shi Xiuxiu was already trapped. However, Shi Xiuxiu still easily broke free of this sudden sneak attack, but Hua Wanyue's intent was not for this. She already arrived right in front of Shi Xiuxiu, taking advantage of this gap. Like a graceful butterfly, the tip of her foot kicked off Shi Xiuxiu's knee. Hua Wanyue then stepped onto Shi Xiuxiu's shoulder. Her slender thighs then spun like drills, and an enormous penetrative force immediately pushed Shi Xiuxiu practically to a knee. Even though she barely resisted, this was hard for Shi Xiuxiu to avoid. I will keep you company. Hua Wanyue's expression was satisfied as she faced Shi Xiuxiu, shooting an arrow down towards her. The world rang. Dong Junqing watched Su Xing forge his fire element sword with his face of concentration, feeling that this man's serious face truly was sexy. Her originally sore and powerless body was even more limp right now. Is something the matter, Junqing? Zhao Hanyan watched her restlessness and asked with concern. Princess Highness, this general really wants to rip his clothes off. Dong Junqing's face blushed in embarrassment. She gazed at Su Xing with a face full of beast-like desire. Princess, should we not properly reminisce with him? This is not the meeting that this general had envisioned. Zhao Hanyan could hear the shamelessness in Dong Junqing's words. She lowered her head and feigned embarrassed anger. Junqing, do not misbehave. This is not the time for that. She gazed at Su Xing, also enraptured by Su Xing's appearance as he continued his flying sword forging. Although he was sometimes on the frivolous side, he always made people feel at ease when he was serious. When Shiyu is like that, do you believe Su Xing truly will be a beast? Zhao Hanyan sighed. Originally, the Ling Yan princess had been a bit jealous, but when she saw Su Xing work his heart out for Shiyu, that bit of jealousy faded away, turning calm instead. To be honest, at least he was serious with the sisters, and she would not have any regrets at the end of the star duels. This man truly is a flirt. Can it be that he will seduce all the women in these star duels? Dong Junqing twitched her lip. This idea is not bad. There would be no need to fight the star duels. Zhao Hanyan guffawed. Just at this moment, the entire world suddenly rumbled. Zhao Hanyan and Dong Junqing were taken aback. Gong Sun Huang opened her eyes and blinked. What is happening? Zhao Hanyan flew into the air, apparently spotting the faint signs of battle. The White Tiger territory honestly does not let anyone have proper rest. The Ling Yan princess said unhappily. Then have some proper rest, Hanyan. A gentle voice laughed. Zhao Hanyan was delighted to hear this voice. She saw that Su Xing was at her side. Has little lord husband Su Xing finished refining the flying swords? Zhao Hanyan covered her mouth. Su Xing rolled his eyes at her. His hand beckoned, and 12 beautiful flying swords appeared. These 12 flying swords were forged from the clinging heaven vermilion Jian's feathers. The feathers inherently combine the beauty of the clinging heaven vermilion Jian and the quintessence of its flames together. The resulting flying swords could be said to be shaped gorgeously. The bright flames were burned vigorously, and its curves were like a beauty's, capable of ruining a country. Especially the name of Jian Feather, Zhao Hanyan was quite amazed. Look after Shiyu here, I'll go look. Su Xing moved. The 12 elegant Jian feathers unfurled. They surrounded Su Xing like phoenix feathers, and he suddenly flew in that direction. Ai, it seems this princess has no choice but to recognize this little sister. Zhao Hanyan smiled. Liked it? Because she had never fired her bow so frequently, the Heaven-Earth-Sun-Moon bow in Hero Star Hua Wanyue's hands had practically become a red-hot brand, a pure red line. Shi Xiuxiu even could see that the trajectories of the incoming arrows were changing mid-flight. The instant they fired, they spun continuously. Danger came at her from head-on. Shi Xiuxiu's legs gently moved, her flying shadow crossing against a fierce phantom. The arrows suddenly split into countless more arrows. Each arrow fragment was as red as steel, emitting an unimaginable killing intent. The spread of the arrows covered this area, completely sealing Shi Xiuxiu's escape routes. Another dance through the willows. A third yellow technique. Shi Xiuxiu was shocked. A top-notch star general using 3 yellow techniques was somewhat inconceivable, however. She immediately deduced that Hua Wanyue had ingested Rat Star by Yutong's wine. Otherwise, 3 consecutive yellow techniques absolutely could not be sustained, even by a top-notch heavenly star. The arrow fragments seemed intelligent, practically tracking Shi Xiuxiu's scent. Each yellow technique of Hero Star Little Li Guang was even more abnormal than the previous. Shi Xiuxiu immediately retreated, continuously stepping back. What was unbelievable was that Hero Star Hua Wanyue this time was completely brilliant. The arrows chased endlessly. Finally, because of the high speed, they completely vanished into the air. If a beast's intuition could sense that terrifying killing intent, Shi Xiuxiu found it unimaginable that even she would be turned into honeycomb before she even knew it. This completely inhibited Shi Xiuxiu's speed. You truly make your servant's blood rush. Shi Xiuxiu smiled and accepted this challenge. This was too interesting. She could feel that the seemingly empty air was already filled with countless arrows spinning with hidden fangs. Gentle contact had the possibility to bring about a chain reaction. What she was uncertain about was if the Hero Star was holding back. Seeing Hero Star Hua Wanyue's fully self-confident, graceful expression, Daredevil third brother was stunned. Hero Star Hua Wanyue paid this no mind and raised her bow, her voice drifting over. Shi Xiuxiu, I am not someone you can underestimate. As the girl spoke, she drew back the bowstring. A crisp twang. The arrow drew an arc, piercing the deathly space between them. The first arrow was merely the Hero Star's friendly greeting. The second arrow was also only a reminder for amicability. Then came the third and fourth. Hero Star Hua Wanyue's barrage speed was becoming faster and faster. These arrows circled around to surround Shi Xiuxiu. Against such a situation, the ending was obvious. Regardless of whether she retreated or advanced, Hero Star Hua Wanyue had already completely sealed Shi Xiuxiu's escape routes. In her perspective, this undoubtedly had already cut off Shi Xiuxiu's arms and legs. Without the advantage of close-range combat, that was a situation that her strongest archery would inevitably dominate. Shi Xiuxiu had no choice but to admit this honestly was a very superb masterpiece. But if this was all, it was not enough. Daredevil third brother raised her 7 colors goose feather. The birds carved upon the blade's edge seemed to pulsate and glimmer. The entire forest world fell silent. This world was in a deathly silence. Hua Wanyue's used unprecedented archery to seal Shi Xiuxiu's movements, following a high-speed trajectory to launch herself at the woman. Under Shi Xiuxiu's formidable realm, this kind of archery was beyond even Shi Xiuxiu's expectations, to be able to force her to use that dark technique just by using a bow. Hero Star Hua Wanyue's brows twisted. A stifling atmosphere spread. The hero star felt a kind of unprecedented feeling of confusion in her heart. What was the damned feeling? Hero star Hua Wanyue's expression chilled, as if she was considering activating the 10,000 god-killing arrow to decide the victor through life or death, but gazing at Tang Tang, she was still reluctant. All of a sudden, acceptance, interest, restraint, concentration. Shi Xiuxiu's eyes seemed even more clear. Her foot moved. Shi Xiuxiu had merely taken a step, but this made hero star Hua Wanyue take a step back in astonishment. Bang! Although this step appeared relaxed, Shi Xiuxiu was already like a beast baring its fangs. Her hidden killing intent instantly spread. Before Shi Xiuxiu's eyes was a despairing number of arrows. These arrows flew towards their target. An ear-splitting shout pounded their eardrums. Shi Xiuxiu slashed, surprisingly striking down all of the arrows. What powerful force! And immediately afterwards, Shi Xiuxiu lurped, suddenly disappearing from sight. Even Hero Star's hawk-like eyes could not track Shi Xiuxiu's trajectory. What swift speed! Consecutive shocks made Hua Wanyue grit her teeth. The moment Shi Xiuxiu disappeared, a wolf's howl drifted over. Anyone else would have inevitably been torn apart by this sudden and berserk voice, heavily injured if not dead. Hero star Hua Wanyue met this howl head-on. She was stubborn and was unwilling to step back again, facing the roar as if it was nothing. Bang! An intense explosion. Shi Xiuxiu's figure appeared. The instant she attacked, her saber hacked. This time, Hua Wanyue easily spun, the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow in her hand already changing into the star-splitting red jade short spear as she leaned. Knowing that the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow was unable to block at this moment, hero star Hua Wanyue used her other star weapon. Her reactions were very praiseworthy to Shi Xiuxiu. Although she blocked this slash, it made hero star Hua Wanyue suffer greatly. The torrential sword qi tore across her body, making Hua Wanyue tumble backwards. Hua Wanyue was nevertheless very tenacious, her figure gracefully correcting in midair. Firing her bow in succession, it was merely completely useless against Shi Xiuxiu at this time. Your servant is already satisfied. Shi Xiuxiu smiled, cutting down the arrows. Hua Wanyue did not utter a word. She raised the star-splitting red jade short spear and decided for a frontal and direct confrontation. Ignoring her skill with the bow and arrow, the absolute in spear and bow hero star's inherent spearmanship was very powerful. From that instant of close-range combat, it was obvious she nearly made Shi Xiuxiu stumble. Shaking her head, it appeared that she was unwilling to give up so easily. Shi Xiuxiu would not show her any slight. Her figure immediately bounded over. Hero star Hua Wanyue's delicate body surprisingly was as agile as a butt-filly, her footwork as swift as lightning. She was like a meteor shower, linking together loop after loop of graceful footwork. Her swaying figure had not only evaded Shi Xiuxiu's attack, she also flanked her. Wielding the short spear, she drew a red line. This thrust was exceptionally crafty and elegant. Shi Xiuxiu completely did not expect that hero star Hua Wanyue's attack would be surprisingly so abnormal. Suddenly she was struck by the spear. Her legs immediately stepped backwards to create distance. Easily spinning around, hero star Hua Wanyue pressed her attack. Her legs suddenly exerted force, and Shi Xiuxiu's figure once again was abruptly forced into close range. Her body was practically stuck against the ground. Drawing a beautiful curve, as her right hand suddenly struck the ground, she borrowed the force to instantly close the distance. Sweeping her leg, she immediately spun in midair, once again kicking to keep up. Shi Xiuxiu restored her normal temp and ferocity, her eyes showing an ice-cold glare, just like a beast's. With such a sharp attack, Shi Xiuxiu surprisingly did not hold back in any way. Close combat could be said to be Daredevil Third Brother's expertise. She would not lose to anyone in this regard. Even if she was still injured, the martial arts she trained as she put her life on the line would still subdue anyone. Hua Wanyue's slender legs made a winding chain of loops, already breaking free of Shi Xiuxiu's entanglement, her spear as leisurely as a butterfly flying through a flower garden. This was the first time Shi Xiuxiu saw such an elegant assault. which was quite incompatible with Shi Xiuxiu's bestial and berserk nature. Out of all of Maiden Mountain's 108 sisters, perhaps only hero star Hua Wanyue was capable of such grace. Thinking rapidly, Shi Xiuxiu nevertheless would not be merciful. After being incited by the dark technique, the beast was even more ferocious. Daredevil third brother Shi Xiuxiu was both shocked and delighted. A vicious light flashed through her eyes. That beastly roar unexpectedly had a vague hiss. Completely ignoring the attack directed at herself, the woman's silhouette suddenly grew. Her entire body instantly pounced. Up and down, her whole body was as wide open as a gate, but her attacking punch was surprisingly wrapped in wind pressure. That strike had an abundance of power. Not good. Hua Wanyue's complexion paled. An enormous noise. Hua Wanyue was knocked back by Shi Xiuxiu's punch. The power washing over her body made Hua Wanyue instantly vomit blood. Apologies. Your servant has overdone it. Shi Xiuxiu sobered up, hastily indicating she was apologetic. What is there to apologize about? Hua Wanyue disdainfully said. If we continue to battle, your lord perhaps will be begrieved. No more. Your servant is truly very satisfied to have been able to trade blows with the strongest little Li Guang. Raising her head to look behind her, Hua Wanyue saw that Shi Xiuxiu had flashed by carrying Bai Yutong. Put down Tang Tang right now. Hua Wanyue shouted. Just let her do something for you all. She is our sister. Shi Xiuxiu smiled and said, You pervert who loves battle, not every sister enjoys battle as you do. Hua Wanyue showed rare anger. Shi Xiuxiu laughed out loud and looked far away. Your lord has come. Your servant shall leave for now. Say hello to him for your servant. Tang Tang will naturally stay safe. Saying this, Shi Xiuxiu vanished into the forest. Hua Wanyue could still see her faint silhouette. She grit her teeth and drew the 10,000 Li god-killing arrow. But in the end, the hero star relented. Damn it. She lost. Su Xing rushed over quickly. However, the battle had already ended. Hua Wanyue sat cross-legged, the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow in her left hand, the star-splitting red jade spear in her right. Wanyue. Su Xing descended. He saw the girl was a bit beaten. What happened here? Su Xing asked. Shi Xiuxiu kidnapped Tang Tang. Hua Wanyue closed her eyes as if she did not dare look at him. What? Shi Xiuxiu kidnapped Tang Tang? Su Xing was a bit in disbelief. She does not have any ill intent. That is what I believe. Hua Wanyue opened her eyes, calmly speaking. Seeing Hua Wanyue so calm, Su Xing could think of what had happened. I'll go bring Tang Tang back. Su Xing nodded. He looked at Hua Wanyue crouched down, and then he stared at the latter. Milord, your face is too close. Hua Wanyue could even smell the scent of the man, and her face blushed. Wanyue, don't stress about victory or defeat. Su Xing could see that her mood was somewhat downcast. It was obvious that after coming to the White Tiger territory, not one thing had been successful. I know. You better go retrieve your daughter. Hua Wanyue shook her head, gracefully playing with a strand of her hair. Su Xing nodded and gave chase. Imei, I am still unable to keep up with you. Hua Wanyue sighed. The wind rushing past her ear made Bai Yutong very quickly open her eyes. She seemed to have had a nice nap. The scene Bai Yutong saw after waking up was a fire-red sea of flowers. A sinister scent pervaded the air, as if it was full of allure. The scene before her was somewhat beautiful, making the little lowly stunned. Mama Wanyue. Bai Yutong suddenly remembered that Mama Wanyue had been fighting with someone. She cried out again and again, but she did not see anyone. The situation facing the little lowly was somewhat scary, and her shoulders trembled. Tang Tang, are you awake? Shi Xiuxiu smiled and walked in. Elder sister Xiuxiu. Why did you call for Mama Wanyue? Shi Xiuxiu teased and asked. And you call me elder sister? Because I am unable to look after you? Bai Yutong innocently answered, because she is someone Papa loves, and Mama Wanyue cares for me very much, like another mama. The little lowly's thought process was very simple. If they would care for her and they stood at her papa's side, Then they were full of a motherly scent. Can Tang Tang call Xiao Xiao Mama? Bai Yutang carefully and also somewhat happily said. Sure, Xiao Xiao gasped. It would be better to call me elder sister. Your servant is certainly not that man's wife. Pausing, she muttered. Interesting, Hua Wanyue unexpectedly has a lord husband. Tang Tang, do you know this place? Sure, Xiao Xiao asked. Bai Yutang naturally shook her head. This place is a secret location in the White Tiger territory. Even the demon kin do not know of it. These flowers are named demonic lotus. Do not touch them. Tang Tang feels these demonic lotuses are very strange. Bai Yutang wrinkled her adorable brow. These demonic lotuses can stir your blood, arousing your martial arts capabilities. Sure, Xiao Xiao said, but you are too little. Right now, you cannot feel danger. Tang Tang, do you feel these demonic lotuses can be brewed into wine? Bai Yutang shook her head. Perhaps elder sister Suwen can concoct medicine. And who is elder sister Suwen? Elder sister Suwen is an expert in medicine. Bai Yutang happily gesticulated. Efficacious star divine physician Sure Xiao Xiao wrinkled her brow, not daring to believe this. She shook her head, not minding this. Elder sister, what did we come here to do? Bai Yutang asked. The densely packed demonic lotus scent had a particular magnificence. Regardless of whatever it was, encountering something in sufficient quantities would make someone feel shocked. Following a gale, the demonic lotus fluttered, and the air danced with an evil scent, giving one the sort of illusion they were in a hellish paradise, something very, very eerie. Bai Yutang's expression could not help but become distant. There is a demon beast here. Her bile is a perfect ingredient for brewing wine. Sure, Xiao Xiao drank a gourd of wine. Bai Yutang gasped, however, she could not face any demon beasts. But this demon beast is very formidable. Your servant may not necessarily be able to defeat it either. Sure, Xiao Xiao grunted. Bai Yutang widened her eyes. Those eyes seemed to say, if you can't defeat it, then why fight it? To be able to see such a cute little sister, your servant is suddenly very full of energy. Sure, Xiao Xiao rubbed her palms. She lowered her head and looked at her burning hot palm, and she said so quietly so that Bai Yutang could not hear, my days are numbered. I do not want to leave any regates. Tang Tang, go over there and see if there are any grasses that can be brewed for now. Your servant has already cleaned this place for you. Your servant shall go face that snake. Sure, Xiao Xiao smiled. Elder sister, be careful. Bai Yutang held out a bottle of worry-free without a care and a bottle of seemingly drunk and stupefied. Sure, Xiao Xiao slightly smiled and took them. Only when Bai Yutang reached a safe range did she move out. In the sea of flowers of this demonic lotus cave, there was a blood-colored pool. There was an evil fragrance wafting about above it, and inside this pool dwelled a prehistoric demon python. This python was named 9 Fragrances Python. In truth, its cultivation was not high, but because it had soaked among the demonic lotuses for so long, it unwittingly and unexpectedly emitted a powerful presence. This made Sure Xiao Xiao feel it was problematic. Sure Xiao Xiao and the 9 Fragrances Python had fought several times, but she did not win a single time. And this time, Daredevil Third Brother was determined to win. The pool wildly frothed, and a dark red serpent burst out from the pool. Its body was at least 300 feet long. Its body was thick enough to need 2 people to wrap around it. The blood-colored snakeskin was as glossy as a mirror, blooming the demonic lotus, and it could move over any terrain as if it was flying. The dark red flower patterns spiraling up along its body from its tail concentrated into a strange flower design atop its head. The blossoming buds among the flower markings were strange 7-colored flowers. These 7-colored lotuses were also called 9 Fragrances lotuses. It possessed tart, sweet, repulsive, bitter, pungent, spicy, sour, vomit, and flaky 2 scents, which is where it got its name. Regardless of whether it was refined as a pill or into medicine, this was a perfect material rarely seen in the world. The 9 Fragrances Python spotted Sure Xiao Xiao and flicked its snake tongue, as if it was disdaining and ridiculing her as it raised its head. Sure Xiao Xiao took a deep breath. In the blink of an eye, Shi Xiuxiu had already closed the distance. She raised the 7 colors goose feather saber in her hand, mercilessly chopping at the 9 fragrances python's head. It appeared that Shi Xiuxiu was very familiar with the 9 fragrances python. Her attack was direct and deadly, aimed at striking the 9 fragrances lotuses of the 9 fragrances python. So long as the 9 fragrances lotus received damage, the 9 fragrances python's power would be debilitated. If she struck anywhere else, of course it would be enough to bring the 9 fragrances python certain injury, but the effectiveness would not be as obvious as attacking its weak spots. The 9 fragrances python suddenly spun its head around, showing a face of glittering, eerie crimson light. It then opened its mouth and spat a shimmering and blinding dark red blade light. This red blade light collided with Shi Xiuxiu's saber. The 9 fragrances python angrily hissed. The 9 fragrances lotus on its forehead released a scent. The scent dispersed, swallowing Shi Xiuxiu in that instant like a net. In actuality, the 9 fragrance python's 9 fragrances lotus were its trump cards. Each scent was capable of different effects. The dry smell could make a person's whole body hurt, thus reducing their desire to fight. Shi Xiuxiu clearly knew and was indifferent as her figure suddenly appeared. She sneered, ingesting the worry-free without a care. This scent had been perfectly inhibited. The 9 fragrances python had not expected this. Shi Xiuxiu's 7 colors goose feather saber brought an air-shattering whistle and a sudden astral wind. She ruthlessly hacked into the 9 fragrances python's body, continuously sinking deeper. Red light practically severed this body in two. Boom! The 9 fragrances python seemed to have been struck by thunder. Its body suddenly jolted, and it released a scream. Its snake tail flung heavily towards Shi Xiuxiu. Even without any abilities, just the approaching force could not be underestimated. Just the wind the snake tail evoked blew Shi Xiuxiu away. Seizing this instant she was disoriented, the 9 fragrances python suddenly rushed over, tightly constricting Shi Xiuxiu like rope. Shi Xiuxiu's face paled. She was unable to break free, and the 9 fragrances python opened its mouth to show a sinister, ugly maw. It wanted to chew apart this woman that disturbed it. Shi Xiuxiu struggled free from the 9 fragrances python's constriction. The daredevil third brother fiercely pounced forth, a frightening saber light blossoming at her hand, a yellow technique. The 9 fragrances python aired in its reckoning of Shi Xiuxiu's battle strength. It once again unleashed a ray of dark red saber light. Shi Xiuxiu's saber tore it apart, and her blade cut open the 9 fragrances python's flesh. This slash did not end yet, for it immediately transitioned into a dark technique. It left the 9 fragrances python screaming endlessly. When the next slash approached, the 9 fragments python knew it was in danger. Seeing that its situation was not favorable, it immediately leapt, escaping and pulling a certain distance away from Shi Xiuxiu. Shi Xiuxiu lost her chance to slay this 9 fragrances python. Her heart could not help but feel that this was somewhat of a pity, but this python was injured. Its strength was debilitated. To kill it was actually no longer an impossible task. Shi Xiuxiu did not hesitate. She kicked off the ground and soared up, rushing towards the 9 fragrances python. The 9 fragrances python glared fixedly at Shi Xiuxiu. Its red and black pupils were like bright lights in the dark night. The red moss and lotus flowers covering its body swayed from time to time, bringing a rustling wind. Because of the scent of the demonic lotuses, the 9 fragrances python possessed the martial capabilities to fight off a martial general. Its tail waved with astonishing power. Its body had an enormous wound, as if it had been ripped open by some sort of immense force. Blood flowed freely from the wound, dripping onto the ground, forming puddles. The 9 fragrances python opened its mouth, releasing a scent from the 9 fragrances lotuses. It was furious. Its heart was completely full of hatred. It flicked its tongue quickly, itching to slowly chew apart this woman that was even more demonic than itself, savoring the meal. Shi Xiuxiu had already deeply comprehended combat against an archer in her battle with Hua Wanyue, and the 9 fragrances python's attack was no different. That tail was like an arrow, so Shi Xiuxiu easily evaded them. Just as Shi Xiuxiu once again rushed in front of it, it suddenly twisted its body. Its giant snake tail smashed downwards. Shi Xiuxiu heard a whoosh. A gale blew by, and immediately afterwards, the light above her head dimmed. A ferocious power like Mount Tai bore down upon her. Shi Xiuxiu immediately lowered her body, and then she flashed to her left. With a loud boom, the 9 fragrances python's tail passed by her body, slamming heavily against the pond. Suddenly, red water splashed everywhere, turning the air turbid and eerie. The strike missed. The 9 fragrances python did not give Shi Xiuxiu any chance to catch her breath. It immediately began its second wave of attacks, opening its mouth wide to suck in the water. It then spat out a thick blast of water, screeching like a sharp blade. With bared fangs, it pounced toward Shi Xiuxiu with shocking power. But Shi Xiuxiu was already familiar with this. She spun around and evaded. This time, Daredevil Third Brother's expression was already not as frightening as before. The 9 fragrances python suddenly sensed danger. Then, Shi Xiuxiu flashed behind it. Its tail ached endlessly, and its eyes turned back to see that Shi Xiuxiu's blade had already pierced through its tail. At the same time, it was greatly enraged. Shi Xiuxiu took the opportunity to approach, her blade tip hacking open the 9 fragrances python's demonic lotuses. Immediately, the 9 fragrances python's body was torn open with a wound dripping with blood. The 9 fragrances python roared and coiled its body. Its powerful strength forced Shi Xiuxiu back. The 9 fragrances python gave chase with all its strength, spitting out a jet of red water. Then, its next scent that could confuse people spilled forth from the 9 fragrances lotuses. Shi Xiuxiu chuckled. The next second, a dark technique wolf howled 10,000ly then passionately kissed the 9 fragrances python. Her newly created yellow rank saber technique ripple blossomed around her, resisting all attacks. The 9 fragrances python simply did not dare believe that the woman in front of it was the same as before. The 9 fragrances python snakeskin will make very valuable material for clothes. Shi Xiuxiu licked her lips, raising her 7 colors goose feather saber. Next is... Before she finished, Shi Xiuxiu moved as fast as lightning, scuttling to the 9 fragrances python's head in an instant. She stepped directly on its face. It was a pity that before the 9 fragrances python could react, following a snapping sound, its entire body was suddenly flung. In the end, it was a ferocious demon beast. Already no longer caring for the intense pain racking its body from the demonic lotuses, the 9 fragrances python suddenly opened its mouth and sprayed a dark purple fog. A blue wind rolled over a range of 2 zhang. The entire cave quaked, as if in a dream world. Far to the side, Bai Yutong watched this fantastical scene. Suddenly, her eyes squinted even further. The 9 fragrances python again emitted its fragrance. Shi Xiuxiu did not dare sample it, quickly withdrawing. Then she leapt high up, a cloud of killing intent lingering around her body, as if protecting her. Her body flipped in the air, already aiming her knees as she descended. She smashed heavily into the stupefied 9 fragrances python's head. Pop! Shi Xiuxiu's knees struck home, and a punch made the 9 fragrances python's breath become a cry. Completely not giving the 9 fragrances python any time to cry, Shi Xiuxiu now once again sunk into her battle frenzy. Perhaps it was because of the demonic lotus's scent, or perhaps she was resolved to sacrifice herself for the kill. The current Daredevil Third Brother was truly in an all-out battle. She became incomparably fearsome, like a demon god. Her calm face no longer had any ripples, and the wretched 9 fragrances python could not make her feel any pity. Her actions became even more deadly. Shi Xiuxiu's body suddenly spun in midair, slashing her saber downwards with a fearsome whistle. The heavy slash cut into the still screaming head of the 9 fragrances python. Suddenly, enormous directly cut downwards, producing a giant hole. Blood spattered out, and the 9 fragrances python writhed in pain as it flew into further rage. Shi Xiuxiu calmly retreated to avoid being struck. The 9 fragrances python began to gather power. A scarlet light gathered in the 9 fragrances python's mouth and became a bright flame. This flame assumed a blade's form. The sword of fire in the 9 fragrances python's mouth was abnormally swift, slicing like a wild storm. Shi Xiuxiu was like a whirlwind. In an instant, she had raised her speed to a stupefying level. Her slender figure contained fighting strength that was absolutely incongruous with her appearance. The 7 colors goose feather saber in her hand flashed a blinding cold light. She crossed the distance between them in several breaths' time. Because of her high-speed movements, the 7 colors goose feather saber's cold light was already forming a straight line, carrying a frightening sharp and discordant sound. The 9 fragrances python was terrified. It never imagined that the woman it had faced so many times before would surprisingly show such a savage face. For a time, it felt that it was not her opponent. The flaming weapon in its mouth suddenly was brandished. Unable to deal with any more, it unleashed its full power in an attempt to obstruct Shi Xiuxiu. With such a strong attack, even if its defenses could not stop the enemy, the tail-leaking blood wielded an even stronger defense, becoming a shield. At the same time, a scent wafted out. This time, the scent protected the 9 fragrances python's whole body, turning it as hard as rock. Shi Xiuxiu was not charging in a straight line as it imagined, let alone charge into the flame weapons it breathed. Only then did the 9 fragrances python realize that it was thoroughly at a disadvantage against this everyday opponent. In their competitions before, it should have already understood that the woman in front of it possessed a bestial strength that did not match her appearance at all. After drinking Bai Yutong's wine, Shi Xiuxiu had obtained an all-around increase to her martial arts skills. In a single breath, Shi Xiuxiu's body shuddered 3 times, shaking left and right. The 7 colors goose feather sabe's light rays drew astonishing trajectories in the air. The instant they drew close, Shi Xiuxiu's body abruptly ducked, shifting her center of gravity and increasing her speed. As if she was a cyclone, Shi Xiuxiu surprisingly used only her own high speed to circle around behind the 9 fragrances python's body. The 7 colors goose feather saber in her hand cut against the 9 fragrances python's profoundly glossy body. The high-speed assault's clash against the snake's defenses let out a chilling screech. In an instant, she had completely looped around that 9 fragrances python, her weapons carving a complete circle. When she stopped again, Shi Xiuxiu already was more than 2 zhang away from the 9 fragrances python, that fanatical expression still upon her face. In Hua Wanyue's words, the daredevil third brother was very abnormal in battle. The sturdy skin of the 9 fragrances python behind her let out ear-piercing cracking sounds. It divided cleanly down the middle, bang bang. It surprisingly split open. The 9 fragrances python could not last much longer. It was completely covered in red. Humiliation and fury had already completely burned away its rationality. The 9 fragrances python's whole body abruptly glowed a burning red color. It charged Shi Xiuxiu, an enormous wind pressure spilling out of its mouth. Shi Xiuxiu did not dodge this time. She was very aware that the 9 fragrances python's assault this time was a type of wide-area attack. It carried an even greater wind pressure. Shi Xiuxiu had no certainty she could completely evade this, however, she adopted the most surprising maneuver. Her right hand suddenly struck at the 9 fragrances python's demonic lotus. With a ding sound, Shi Xiuxiu already borrowed this enormous impulse to draw a perfect backflip in midair. When she landed, she was already 3 zhang away. Her right hand shook. The 7 colors goose feather saber was nearly dislodged, and her hand shuddered endlessly. Very clearly, the intense collision from the 9 fragrances python's attack just now was very taxing. Roar! The 9 fragrances python bellowed, madly flinging its tail and spitting out saber light. Shi Xiuxiu's body was straight as a pencil. Her right hand suddenly clenched, and the murderous aura over her whole body slowly gathered. Shi Xiuxiu's body gradually manifested a dancing hurricane. Continuous battles made Shi Xiuxiu exceptionally exhausted. She was somewhat unable to even use an earth rank, but combat would never bring Daredevil Third Brother a burden. On the contrary, The wisdom star lived for battle. Shi Xiuxiu instantly initiated an attack. Her whole body carried a whirlwind, increasing her speed. Already, she plunged into the 9 fragrances python's chest. In the interval while the 9 fragrances python flung its tail about, she suddenly brandished her hand and seized the tail. When she took hold of the tail, it let out a wretched scream. The 9 fragrances python was surprisingly flung against the cliffs by Shi Xiuxiu. Shi Xiuxiu and the 9 fragrances python's battle made by Yutong flabbergasted. And that surging gale and demonic scent whipped wildly. Finally, Bai Yutong was unable to last and nearly fainted over. Tang Tang! A voice suddenly called. Bai Yutong turned her head back, pleasantly surprised to see Su Xing, Papa. Su Xing hugged her tight. I heard from Wan Yue. From now on, you can't run off on your own. But Tang Tang found so many materials. Bai Yutong's happy little face blushed. Seeing her joyous expression, Su Xing could not be angry. Su Xing then spotted the battle inside the cave. Papa, go help elder sister Xiuxiu. Bai Yutong was worried. She's fine. Su Xing said. The 9 fragrances python's attack became increasingly frenzied, indicating it was increasingly unable to fend off the daredevil third brother. When daredevil third brother took completely hold of the battle's tempo, everything the 9 fragrances python had already became futile. Shi Xiuxiu began to attack endlessly, gradually seizing the advantage. The 9 fragrances python was enraged, in grief, using every ability it had. It suddenly spotted Su Xing. This demon beast had intelligence, but it did not recognize this man as having come to its aid. Seeing that there was still a supervoid cultivator still standing to the side like a tiger biding its time, the 9 fragrances python was in thorough despair. It began to writhe violently. I will make you pay the price. The 9 fragrances python shouted in its mind. The 9 fragrances lotuses suddenly emitted a scent. Shi Xiuxiu ignored this, easily evading, but she immediately miscalculated. This time, the 9 fragrances python charged over with full power, facing that sharp blade head-on. Shi Xiuxiu was taken aback, slashing into the 9 fragrances python's head. But the 9 fragrances python was already finished. On the contrary, the 9 fragrances lotuses surprisingly bloomed. A strange, alluring scent wafted, a never-before-smelt 10th scent. Not good. Shi Xiuxiu was shocked. 1. How odd right arrow curving left 2. Again, odd for a scent. Detecting the odor of the 10th scent, Su Xing automatically activated the heart-like mirror absolute sincerity soul technique. But the 9 fragrances python was a prehistoric, ancient demon beast. It lived eating demonic lotuses year-round, each droplet of blood brimmed with a concentrated aphrodisiac. This was far from comparison with that dragon back in Flower Dragon Cave. The 10th scent wafted, digging into his pores. Before Su Xing could even use it, he suddenly felt desire permeate every cell in his body. He immediately cursed. Everything that happened next was already beyond what Su Xing himself could control. At the same time, daredevil third brother Shi Xiuxiu had also fallen to lust. She was drawn into Su Xing's embrace, and her last shred of clarity mysteriously disappeared against that man's surging manly qi. The two of them were stuck to each other like glue, deep kissing, sucking at each other's saliva. Shi Xiuxiu's top fell to the ground, and what bound her breasts was not the normal underwear but a white silk wrap, with some leftover blood on its surface. The two of them were still vaguely conscious, but their bodies had already stopped listening to them. Su Xing's hand grabbed Shi Xiuxiu's plump breast and kneaded it. His other hand quickly slipped past her bottom wear and wandered along her straight, jade legs. Beautiful moans unimaginably poured out from daredevil third brother's throat. The wild and unrestrained Shi Xiuxiu right now was like an existence that enticed all things. Her white binding was removed, and her white breasts were fondled wantonly by Su Xing. He squeezed them into every kind of shape, making Shi Xiuxiu's eyes water. Her hands wandered around Su Xing's groin. Under their lust, the two of them did not fondle each other for long. Very quickly, They were completely naked, indulging completely in one another. Shi Xiuxiu growled, pouncing onto Su Xing like a beast. Then she spread her legs and sat down, inserting little Su Xing into paradise. Having trained in the White Tiger territory for so long, Shi Xiuxiu believed she had tasted countless torments. Regarding wounds, she was already accustomed to them, but when this man's thing entered her body, an unprecedented feeling washed over her whole body. Her heart seemed to fill with something, leaving her satisfied enough to die content. Shi Xiuxiu opened her red lips, breathing out her hot breath. Her hands gripped Su Xing's shoulders, and her narrow, unfocused eyes stared at Su Xing, making him feel loving towards her. Her lower body automatically rose and fell. Each time he entered and left her stamen, an electric current seemed to flow through her whole body, making Shi Xiuxiu unable to help but let out the most beautiful moan in the world. Perhaps this was what was meant by dying happy. Censorship. 2. Su Xing slowly regained his consciousness. He did not know how much time had passed. He seemed to have had a fantastic wet dream. Wisdom star Shi Xiuxiu? No way. Su Xing's eyes shot open as if he had been doused by ice water. However, who he saw was not Shi Xiuxiu, but steadfast star general of double spears Dong Junqing instead. She straddled his body and bounced up and down. The pleasure of his lower body nearly made Su Xing's mind go blank. You finally woke up? Oh, almost. This general is almost. Dong Junqing's hands gripped Su Xing. She launched a storm-like offensive, not needing even a moment to make Su Xing unleash a flood. 3. Dong Junqing nipped Su Xing's earlobe, her voice as alluring as a temptress. Satisfied? Princess said that you had no sex drive because of what happened to Shiyu, but it seems you are just a beast. Junqing. Su Xing sighed. It's fine as long as it's you. He had imagined something happened between him and Shi Xiuxiu. Su Xing felt a chill in his limbs. This absolutely was not disdain, rather, because of Daredevil Third Brother's overbearing personality, losing her virginity would probably cause her to go berserk on Su Xing. Dong Junqing's smile became even more evil. This general misspoke just now. What? You are not a beast. Before Su Xing could nod in gratitude, Dong Junqing then cut him down again. You are completely worse than a beast, to unexpectedly take the chastity of even the wisdom star. This general is truly impressed. What? Su Xing's mouth hung agape. Dong Junqing motioned with her lips, hinting. Following her direction, Su Xing spotted in a pool not far away a young woman dressed in a purple skirt. She was none other than Zhao Hanyan, and Zhao Hanyan was helping another woman clean her body using the pool water. Seeing Su Xing's gaze, Zhao Hanyan seemingly smiled. So it was like this. While Su Xing and Shi Xiuxiu were having sex, Zhao Hanyan and Dong Junqing caught up. The scene they saw was, in Dong Junqing's words, the pinnacle of shamelessness. Bai Yutong had fainted nearby. Shi Xiuxiu straddled Su Xing, the two of them absolutely threadbare, tightly wound around each other. The demonic lotuses inside the cave blossomed, their scent pervasive. The crimson flowers and crimson waters mixed together, just like a girl's first time, lovely and alluring to the bone. Zhao Hanyan was indeed stupefied, however. She could see that Su Xing and Shi Xiuxiu had lost all reason, captivated by a peculiar scent. Because she did not know how strong this scent was, Zhao Hanyan did not dare advance. She could only wait until Su Xing and Shi Xiuxiu finished with their intercourse before she dared approach. Afterwards, Dong Junqing saw that little Su Xing was still restless, so she used her mouth to coax the snake from its cave, and then she impatiently started her turn. However, Zhao Hanyan was the great Liang's princess after all. She was not as unbridled as Dong Junqing. First of all, she looked after the very debilitated Shi Xiuxiu. Be proud. You were surprisingly able to obtain the Daredevil Third Brother's body. How about it? Take her into your harem. This general is very eager to taste her flavor. Dong Junqing licked Su Xing's chest, a charming seduction. Morals, Junqing, Su Xing advised. Dong Junqing guffawed. This general's morals have long already been sold to you. Let's get up for now. When Wan Yue and the others get here and see this, Su Xing awkwardly said. They are already here, but they stood guard outside. Little Li Guanghua Rong, is it possible this erotic scene aroused you? Dong Junqing shouted towards the outside. From outside the cave came the reply, in the form of a cold and disdainful snort. Su Xing chuckled and hid his embarrassment. The two of them tidied their clothes, and Dong Junqing said as an aside, "This general noticed that your hickeys are even more intense than before. Is it because you ingested something here, something with a very powerful aphrodisiac effect?" "Is that so?" Su Xing tested his internal energies. As expected, he sensed that an indescribable emptiness had gathered at his dantian. "Don't think about it. Let's go see how Shi Xiuxiu is doing first. Is she awake?" Su Xing worriedly said. Dong Junqing narrowed her eyes as she stared at Su Xing, an expression that was very eager to see what would happen next. In fact, Shi Xiuxiu had already awakened. However, the limpness in her whole body made Zhao Hanyan help wash her. When she saw Su Xing approach, she was not furious as he had imagined, and neither was she bashful. She acted as if nothing had happened. Shi Xiuxiu merely stared at Su Xing, her pure and feral eyes as wild as before. Zhao Hanyan was not idle as she helped wash Shi Xiuxiu's body. She had nagged about Su Xing's good points, the purpose of which was to lessen the fury Shi Xiuxiu would feel towards Su Xing after losing her virginity. The two stared at each other for a while, as if they had many things to say. Finally, Su Xing extended his hand, saying only, "Xiuxiu, become my wife." 1. Right arrow curving left 2. The party just has to ruin the fun. Right arrow curving left 3. Shi Xiuxiu, sign a contract with me. Su Xing extended his hand, his serious earnestness making Shi Xiuxiu quite startled. "You are wishing for too much. Your servant is not the sort to demand you take responsibility for your servant's body. This body will return to Maiden Mountain sooner or later. Seeing as how you saved your servant once, treat it as your servant's recompense." Shi Xiuxiu raised the corner of her lips, boldly smiling. "This isn't the reason." Su Xing was serious. "I hope you and I can end the cycle of these star duels together." Shi Xiuxiu showed a dull expression. "End the star duels? Huh? Your servant is not interested in this kind of thing." "You don't want to end the star duels?" Su Xing was a bit surprised. He had always believed that the greatest wish for the star maidens caught in the star duels karmic cycle was to end the star duels. Your servant only wishes to pursue martial arts up until death in battle. To engage the other sisters in this mutual slaughter, your servant has no interest. So your servant will not sign a contract. If you wish to force a contract, your servant can only fight with all her might. Shi Xiuxiu's expression was immediately as savage as a beast's. Her words had not the slightest bit of jest. Su Xing and the other girls looked at each other. Evidently, they had not expected that daredevil third brother's determination to be so resolute. When it came to Su Xing's resolution to contract with Shi Xiuxiu, to say their intercourse was not a reason would be hypocritical. However, seeing Shi Xiuxiu so serious, the Su Xing who normally was not forceful was left speechless for a while. In his heart, he told himself that he could only find an opportunity later to change this beast woman's mind. And, perhaps, after seeing the top-notch Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiyo, they could perhaps convince her. Thinking of this, Su Xing could not compel her, but he would not yield in the slightest. Your weakness right now is because of this. Before you completely recover, you must remain at my side. Hey, are you treating your servant as some bookworm too weak to stand against the wind? Shi Xiuxiu said in annoyance. She wanted to push away Zhao Hanyan, but she could not muster the strength to move her body. She took a few steps only to stagger. Xiuxiu, please do not make this difficult for milord with your current condition. Hua Wanyue coldly said. The other sisters also tried to persuade her. Afterwards, it was still Dong Junqing's perfect words of, if you follow around at this man's side, not only Lin Chong and Wu Song, you can even trade blows with the strongest Lu Junyi. This finally tamed the unyielding beast for now. Su Xing summoned the bright moon longevity palace to allow everyone rest. Su Xing entered the main hall of the longevity palace. Atop the cold moon quiet star bed, a young woman currently lay quietly. Her complexion was pale, her breathing weak. Above the girl was a bright, vermilion flame. This flame's shape was like a bird, extremely gorgeous. That fire element energy slowly entered the girl's body, battling the extreme cold inside her body. Extremely beautiful feathers slowly spread under Shiyu's body, intermittently visible. Zhao Hanyan stepped forward, saw the girl, and even she felt this was a beautiful scene. Soon, this clinging heaven vermilion Jian's soul would be completely absorbed into the girl's body. At that time, her strength would definitely receive a sharp boost, and luckily, he was fine with it. Zhao Hanyan thought to herself, glancing at Su Xing, that should the same thing happen to her, would he be worried? The Ling Yan princess could not help but laugh. That the princess of the renowned Great Liang dynasty would make someone worried was but a joke. Is she still not recovered? Zhao Hanyan said softly. It's already been several days. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. And Suwen had also finally left the star nest. The efficacious star had personally checked her pulse and prepared medicine, even working with Tang Lianxin to absorb the clinging heaven vermilion Jian into the girl's body, but this was apparently unable to abate the remaining trace of Han Bing's cold magic energy in her body. The efficacious star and solitary star together are unable to dispel this? Just what is this Han Bing's true body, to be so overwhelming? Zhao Hanyan was perplexed. And Suwen said that it may be that Han Bing has instilled a piece of her own soul into Shiyu's body. This piece is linked to the life of the person herself, so this is the reason it hasn't been dispelled. Zhao Hanyan's eyes narrowed. This means, we must kill her. Su Xing's tone was even colder than ice. Now! Zhao Hanyan's brows rose. Su Xing grunted. Further delays bode even worse for Shiyu. But to go kill Han Bing right now signified launching a war inside the domain of the White Tiger Demonkin that Li Taisui led. Furthermore, he did not have the support of Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiyo at the moment. Zhao Hanyan's heart was shaken. Although she hated Li Taisui to the bone and wanted to take revenge, it was considerably difficult and dangerous in all regards at this time. Any smart Star Master would not provoke the White Tiger Demonkin in the White Tiger territory. I have my own plan, you don't need to worry. Su Xing seemed to have seen through her thinking and brought Zhao Hanyan into his embrace. The Ling Yan princess blushed, and her heart immediately calmed. Little sister is extremely infatuated with you, Su Xing. How can this princess allow you to act heartless? I wouldn't, Su Xing muttered. Shi Xiuxiu sat atop a jade platform in the bright moon longevity palace, the goose feather heavenly wolf squatting beside her. On one hand it was full of bewilderment towards the lively scene in front of it, but it fiercely guarded its weakened master. Shi Xiuxiu drank large swigs of baijutongs, as if dead drunk, from her gourd. The rich flavor of every drop of wine sunk into her stomach, making every pore of her body intoxicated. While she watched the lowly brew wine, Wanyue drew her bow. The girl's cheeks were slightly flushed. Among the countless nights spent licking her wounds, Shi Xiuxiu actually had thought of the appearance of Maiden Mutin's sisters all uniting. However, much of that imagination back then was a fleeting reflection. As for just how this scene came to be, Shi Xiuxiu had no way to explain it. Watching the scene before her eyes, that instant, she had a sort of illusion of returning to that dream. This is not real. Shi Xiu, how can drinking alone not be boring? A voice pulled her back to reality. Shi Xiuxiu set down the gourd. She looked at the woman in front of her who carried charm in her allure and who carried dignity in her charm. Dong Junqing, as a Five Tigers general, how did you become involved with him in the star duels? This general has taken him to her fancy. How is this for a reason? Dong Junqing laughed. She gestured, producing a porcelain cup. Shi Xiuxiu twitched her lips and poured her some wine. Just who is Su Xing? Can it be he is unrelated to Li Taisui? Shi Xiuxiu could not help but ask. You will understand soon enough if you sign a contract with him. Your servant will never sign a contract. Shi Xiuxiu did not hesitate to answer. Such a stubborn woman will make a man very eager to conquer you. Little sister, this is truly a good idea. Dong Junqing teased. Shi Xiuxiu paid no attention to her joke. Seeing that Dong Junqing did not want to answer about Su Xing, she did not purse the matter. He has so many star generals. Your servant feels signing a contract with him is boring. No good, no good, your servant is much better suited to independence. Shi Xiuxia shook her head. She seemed a bit drunk. Only bandages covered the breasts of her otherwise exposed upper body. A pair of beautiful legs poked out from her short skirt, straight and slender. Dong Junqing licked her chapped lips. This drunken daredevil third brother actually had some special allure. You do not wish to sign a contract. This general is very approving of your methods. Oh. But this general is not worried at all that Su Xing's strength will once again increase by possessing you. Dong Junqing smiled. This general only wants to know, at the very end after scaling Maiden Mountain, just how Su Xing will deal with you. Will he kill you to ascend, or will he force a contract and induct you into the harem, and, regardless of which, both violate his norms? That time will be very wonderful. Shi Xiuxiu was stunned, her drinking motion stopping for a moment. Dong Junqing's eyes flashed a bit of craftiness. She leaned forward, her voice smooth and soft. Little sister, how did it feel to have sex with a man? If you want to know, go do it yourself. Shi Xiuxiu's face heated up, somewhat blanking out. This general has already done it with him, together with Princess? Shi Xiuxiu was stunned. Suddenly, Dong Junqing kissed Shi Xiuxiu's lips without warning. The steadfast star was already impatiently grabbing those plump breasts with her hands, kneading them. Shi Xiuxiu's proud personality had already made Dong Junqing restless. Seeing that she had lost her virginity to Su Xing, her heart bloomed with a flower. Seizing the opportunity while Shi Xiuxiu was somewhat drunk and her body was still weak, she impatiently stole a savage kiss. Her tongue wound around, and Dong Junqing could not help but moan. Each and every one of the other sisters in the Bright Moon Longevity Palace were dumbstruck. Hua Wanyue did not hesitate to draw her bow. An arrow flew by, slipping cleanly past their foreheads, directly forcing Dong Junqing away. Shi Xiuxiu returned to her senses and pushed Dong Junqing away in shock. Dong Junqing, what are you doing? Little sister Wanyue is truly a party pooper. Elder sister is waiting for you and Ingmei to give your bodies to Su Xing together. Dong Junqing was not satisfied yet, as expected of having trained in the White Tiger territory. Your aggression is truly fierce enough to be arousing. Shi Xiuxiu's brows drew together, and she said sternly, just wait until your servant's body recovers. Of course, once little sister's body recovers, Junqing will naturally keep you company with her body, Dong Junqing then said. A war of 300 bouts that is bound to make little sister wish she were dead. Fine. However, if little sister loses, how about you attend to Su Xing together with this general? Dong Junqing revealed her intentions. Unreasonable. Daredevil third brother, could it be you have no self-confidence? You have trained in the White Tiger territory. Dong Junqing used psychology with learned expertise. Shi Xiuxiu was smart, but her blood boiled. Your servant agrees. If she lost to such a lewd Five Tigers great general, Shi Xiuxia felt that she would be better off immediately starfalling. Very good. Very good what? Su Xing interjected. This general just happens to be inciting Xiuxiu to attend to you together alongside this general. Dong Junqing chuckled. Stop that, Junqing. Zhao Hanyan wrinkled her brows. Su Xing smiled, simply treating her as if she was being harassing. How is that girl? Dong Junqing then asked. Zhao Hanyan shook her head. Even the clinging heaven Vermilion Jian's soul is powerless? Shi Xiuxiu said in surprise. Su Xing, what are you preparing to do next? A 4-word reply. An assault on Fengdu. White Tiger territory, the border. A golden qilin appeared in the sky. Several demon beasts sensed the golden qilin's presence and immediately scuttled away in fear. 2 women sat on the back of the qilin. One appeared as brilliant as a god, her figure clad in simple and elegant clothes. The other was of dignified bearing, lovely as water. Chai Ling, This place is the White Tiger territory? The mighty woman was none other than Strength Star Jade Qilin Lu Xiao. And yes, Chai Ling was clad in the moon-seizing star-taking magic weapon, dreamy as the stars, imposing and noble. This is honestly unlike the Azure Dragon. Lu Xiao shook her shoulders, feeling her body was somewhat heavy. For a time, she was somewhat unaccustomed. Lu Xiao, you are truly bold, to surprisingly want come to the White Tiger territory and see the White Tiger Star Masters. Are you not afraid that Li Taisui will slay you? Chai Ling gently smiled. After the Crystal Palace, Lu Xiao continuously used the 1,000-year tears to increase her star energy. Afterwards, she was not too satisfied and sought out the noble star Chai Ling of the Great Circle Castle. The Crystal Dragon Palace made Lu Xiao very curious about the White Tiger territory's Star Masters, so she was very eager to come investigate the legendary White Tiger territory. Just what were these White Tiger territory Star Masters? As the head of the 108th Star Maidens Martial Force, if she did not come to the White Tiger territory on behalf of the other sisters, how could she call herself an elder sister? For you to come to the White Tiger territory, Chai Ling, are you not afraid of those demon-kin coveting your red ink iron certificate? Lu Xiao said. With the Jade Qilin here, this palace is very safe. Xiaoer is serious. Lu Xiao turned her head back to look at Chai Ling. Last time at the Crystal Dragon Palace, the White Tiger territory's old man was somewhat defiant of the natural order. At the current stage, Lu Xiao herself was without a sure chance of victory against him, let alone that the old man surprisingly had a sister who was also of superb power. Xiaoer is honestly, this palace dared come to the White Tiger territory, and only naturally with preparations. Chai Ling slightly smiled. Xiaoer is also warning you, that when the time comes and there is something Xiaoer cannot defeat, Xiaoer will not run. Lu Xiao craftily winked. And the White Tiger territory has the halberd-breaking heavy sand, that Xiaoer needs so much of to upgrade to a 5-star Qilin lance. That is the reason Xiaoer came, and Xiaoer does not have much time to watch over you. This palace has people who care. There is no need for your extra gestures. Is that not so, Xing'e? Chai Ling tenderly stroked the cat in her bosom, revealing a tender expression. Xiaoer rolled her eyes. Go, Lina. Properly show the White Tiger territory your might. Look out! A sharp cry suddenly came from one of the White Tiger territory's sheer cliffs. A green light flew through the air. A grotesque-looking man stood in the air. His hand shook, and a sinister ghostly flame suddenly clawed out. In the ravine below, 2 girls were evading. Chuha, careful. A girl dressed in blue palace robes rode atop a divine steed. She held a spear dancing about like flowing water with dragon scales and waves rolling out from the spear. The other woman held a brush, quickly drawing in the air. Countless talisman scripts flashed and dimmed, exploding. Reckless Star Masters, you surprisingly dare seek trouble from me, Lord of 10 Words. This truly infuriates me. Today you will die here. The man swore. His skin was a dark green, covered in scale armor. This person was named Lord of 10 Words. His true body was that of a green monitor lizard. He had ruled this heart-devouring cliff for 100 years, and his cultivation had already reached supervoid middle stage. In a range of 100 li, he could be said to be the unmatched ruler. Today, he had originally thought of training his ghost underworld fire. How could he have expected that several thieves would suddenly intrude? To say they were thieves was not completely accurate. They were actually very vibrant, that aura unlike a cultivator's, and they did not appear to be demon-kin. Immediately, old demon she realized they were Star Masters. Owing to Maiden Mountain's prestige, old demon she originally did not want to bother with them, allowing these girls to leave. How could he have expected these girls to not recognize their good fortune and instead dare challenge him? This made the Lord of 10 Words who was used to getting his way become enraged. A ghost underworld fire was activated, and he summoned a flock of demons from the cliffs. Immediately, they surrounded the girls. Although these star generals are powerful, with so many demons, they have no way out. How about you obediently become this greatest lord's brides? This lord will help with your star duels? The Lord of 10 Words said. Old demon, we have already spoken more than 10 words, yet you still have not killed us. Sikong Chuha sneered, her flying swords hovering around her, magic weapons and powers protecting her as well. The Lord of 10 Words was extremely angry. This girl's words mocked him. The reason why he was named the Lord of 10 Words was because he never wasted more than 10 words on small talk when he killed. This Lord sees that you are pitiable, and you truly anger me. Today, I shall teach you a lesson on behalf of that Maiden Mountain. The Lord of 10 Words said angrily. Are you still worried about Maiden Mountain? This sort of man will never receive the love of a woman. Sikong Chuha provoked. Compared to her, the Su Yixiao who was reliant on Sikong Chuha was instead very grim, her forehead deeply wrinkled. The Lord of 10 Words roared. He saw that these two girls were not of very high cultivation, yet they dared provoke him like this. If he let them go, that would insult his standing as the Lord of Heart-Devouring Cliff. If he was unable to defeat them, that would truly be a joke. Suddenly he aroused his killing intent. Without saying another word, he shook his head, grew his claws, and slashed at Sikong Chuha's head. As for the Su Yixiao to the rear, the Lord of 10 Words saw that this girl was spry and graceful, beautiful and quiet, a gentle cuteness, so he actually did not wish to take her down first. This demonkin monster is powerful as expected. Sikong Chuha's heart sneered. Ever since they came to the White Tiger territory, she and Su Yixiao had finally forged the Heaven-Earth Shears. Today, they specifically wanted to test out this prehistoric spirit treasure's might, and another thought was to find out the strength of the White Tiger territory's demonkin. When she saw this old monster's claw approach, she hastily activated her swords. The sword light glowed, and a white serpent phantom flew out. A white dragon sword emerged. The sword light twisted, the white dragon overturned the sky, attacking the ghost underworld fire. Old Demon Lord of 10 Words was still quite worried. The two of them dueled, using every magic. That demonkin true body's abilities emerged in succession. Sikong Chuha had cultivated for a dozen years, and she had been raised meticulously by the clan. Although her cultivation was not as profound as Old Demon 10 Words, her magic weapons were impressive, and with the support of her flying swords, she could barely withstand this. Little girl, you surprisingly dared to challenge this lord. Old Demon 10 Words saw that Sikong Chua's cultivation had not yet reached supervoid stage. From the start, he did not place her in his eyes. When he saw that white dragon sword, he took a liking to it. A star general's weapons are mysterious. How can this lord maintain his name if he does not take it? As he thought this, Old Demon 10 Words' power suddenly changed. His supervoid middle stage spiritual pressure abruptly pounced. Any low-level cultivator would inevitably have died. The Lord of 10 Words felt his opponent should have realized his might, but at this moment, Sikong Chuha seemed to have been planning for this. She showed a pleased sneer. Yixiao, this is the moment. The two girls shouted. Before the Lord of 10 Words could see what was happening, the two girls extended their arms. Immediately, his eyes were dazzled. A profound light was blinding. Though he wanted to clear his vision, Old Demon 10 Words' view was blurred. He was shocked, and he immediately pulled back. However, he was already too late. That golden light was ferocious, splitting into two golden rays that twisted left and right. A crack seemed to be twisted open into the world. They were Heaven-Earth Shears. 1. Right arrow curving left 2. The Qilin right arrow curving left 3. Right arrow curving left 4. A pun on his name. Equals 10, while means word. Usually means cross, while, which she says here, means 10 letters/words. In the context of the story, the author is using the latter to mean the former, which leads to ambiguity. The Heaven-Earth Shears were so named for their spiritual power that moved heaven and earth. The Lord of 10 Words applied his spiritual power pressure on the center of Sikong Chuha's chest. The moment he unleashed his spiritual power, he was just like a wide open door. Now, Old Demon 10 Words had nowhere to run. Sikong Chuha and Su Yixiao's minds moved, the two of them in perfect synchronization. In the world, golden light intersected, twisting up the Lord of 10 Words from front and back. Ah, damn it, even as a ghost this Lord will, heaven and earth twisted, destroying the Lord of 10 Words. This old monster that had killed his opponents before 10 words were uttered had in the end turned to ash before he himself had uttered 10 words. This could be said to be pitiful. Heart-devouring Cliff's demonkin immediately became terrified when they saw their leader die. The Grand Lord of 10 Words was a super void middle stage that was surprisingly unable to face 2 whelps. These Star Masters were terrifying as expected. When they considered this, 10 Words' army scattered, fleeing clean away. Yixiao. Literature's sacred-handed scholar Xiao Qingyan was relieved. Su Yixiao's face wore an expression of contemplation. She beckoned. That golden light in the world separated into rays that fell into Su Yixiao and Sikong Chuha's palms, forming halves of a dragon-shaped shear. It appeared ordinary, but Su Yixiao never imagined it would be surprisingly so powerful. At just the moment of attack, a super void middle stage cultivator was destroyed. However, the magic energy expenditure made Su Yixiao a bit unable to continue. Sikong Chuha concentrated on the half of the shears in her hand, her gaze heavy. At the corners of her eye were vague teardrops. She lowered her head so that Su Yixiao did not see. Chuha. Shan Menger dismounted and tenderly patted Sikong Chuha. Sikong Chuha grunted. She raised her head and showed a bright smile. Little sister Yixiao is truly bright. It is thanks to little sister that we easily took out this old demon 10 Words. Not without this heaven-earth shear. Su Yixiao said. And, for even a super void middle stage to die instantly, those white tiger demonkin are nothing impressive. Little sister Yixiao, before the 3 heavenly books begin and before the white tiger star masters expand their strength, how about we go investigate them? If we can find a chance to kill them, we will not need to fear them in the future star duels. Sikong Chuha stared at Su Yixiao, her expression warm yet carrying a pressure that would not accept objections. Su Yixiao was somewhat troubled. The White Tiger territory was the demonkin's sphere of influence, after all. The strength of that old man especially was simply terrifying. She did not believe this sneak attack trick could kill him. Of course, Sikong Chuha had her own considerations. That old man is indeed powerful, but there may be a chance with the others. These white tiger demon folk definitely have not anticipated our arrival in this territory and have certainly relaxed their guard. With the combination of the heaven-earth shears, we need only to each attack for there to be a very big chance. If there truly is danger, we have the Liangshan Jade pendants. Escape will not be an issue. Seeing that Su Yixiao was still hesitant, Sikong Chuha smiled and said, "Since we are in the star duels, little sister should be a courageous person. A bit of courage is a must." Su Yixiao and Xiao Qingyan looked at each other in dismay. The sacred-handed scholar shook her head. "Everything is by your will, Yixiao." Su Yixiao sighed, knowing that ever since Sikong Chuha's little sister had been killed by the demonkin, her heart had overflowed with hatred. She could see that just from looking at their use of the heaven-earth shear in killing this demonkin, but she could not refuse Sikong Chuha's suggestion. Courage? Yes, why bother joining the star duels if she was afraid? Su Yixiao sighed in her heart. Her face wore a smiling face. "Then let us go look." Yixiao is very curious about this white tiger territory. Sikong Chuha showed a happy expression. "Chuha indeed did not make a mistake taking you in as a little sister. Let us first divide this old demon lord of 10 words things. There should be some excellent magic weapons and pills that can help us." If only. Su Yixiao thought. Kaifeng. A tower of ice. Inside the tower, there was bone-chilling cold and thick, frozen black ice. A young woman of icy beauty sat cross-legged in the tower. Blue light on her chest flickered like a flame. After a while, Han Bing slowly opened her eyes. Han Bing felt the beating blue heart in her chest. "Han Bing, you have been somewhat ill at ease recently." A lively and charming voice drifted in. The Ling Feishue currently outside the tower poked her head in. However, the inside of the tower was too cold. She could not bear it. Han Bing retracted her presence and expressionlessly walked out. Are you worried about something? Ling Feishue could sense Han Bing's unease. To be able to make the unsympathetic ice woman agitated, even worried, was a very unbelievable thing in Ling Feishue's perspective. Heaven-shaking thunder was also increasingly curious. She is not dead. Han Bing's tone sank. Ling Feishue was first taken aback, and then she immediately realized her meaning. That Star Master that you struck with your terrified to the bone has not died? No way? Han Bing nodded. Her ice soul was placed into Shiyu at the same time as terrified to the bone. Splitting off her ice soul was already a drastic decrease to Han Bing's cultivation, but for the sake of guaranteeing that she killed the enemy, Han Bing showed no mercy. His appearance was quite shady, but his power was nevertheless exceptional. And can it be that Liao Emperor truly wants to unify Liangshan continent? Revitalizing the might of Kaifeng? How interesting. The North's demonic king of the borderless sea was handsome in appearance. The last one was the Western demonic king, a beautiful woman dressed in colorful clothes and cap. At first glance, she was like a fairy. Her true body was a peacock, which was somewhat connected to the immortals. The four great demonic kings each secured an area, minding their own cultivation. Normally, they minded their own business and kept out of each other's way. If it was not for hearing from Woming Wankong say that Liao Emperor could help them break through Supervoid Peak into transforming Star of Annihilation, they would have had not interest in dealing with this Liao Emperor who once unified the White Tiger territory. This was dust in the wind. The demon kin had never felt nostalgia for it. Woming Wankong nodded. That little girl appears somewhat weak, but her power is indeed profound. I saw she had many things upon her, especially that book of the Yellow Court, which I fear is a secret treasure of Star World. If we unite to kill her, there is no need to listen to her order. Great kings, this is also the reason Wankong has summoned you all here. The great kings glanced at each other. They had ruled their territories for several hundred years. Naturally, they would not care for anyone else. But the Liao Emperor's fame was brilliant. She was a legend to the White Tiger territory's demon kin, the person who established the outline of Kaifeng. The demonic kings were somewhat afraid. Woming Wankong then said, "There is no need to worry, now that the Liao Emperor's left and right hands are absent, how can the four of us together fail to take down that Giller? We had better wait and see." The beautiful fairy hesitated. In the end, she still felt a bit of prudence, to first observe what abilities the Liao Emperor had, then decide on a course of action. If she was truly powerful and could help her break through to transforming Star of Annihilation, then there was no harm in listening to her orders. If this Liao Emperor was very weak, then the result did not need explaining. The other demonic kings felt that the Peacock Immortals' thinking was acceptable. They also were clever, afraid that Woming Wankong was deliberately using them to do the dirty work. Woming Wankong was quite displeased and quiet. He smiled and said, "Then fine. Everyone, let us together go pay a visit to the Liao Emperor." At this time, the great demonic kings were unaware that it was precisely because of this small hesitation that they missed their one chance to ascend. But by the time they realized it, they would have already become sacrifices for Yelu Wuxin's array. While Su Xing, Lu Junyi, Sikong Chuha, and Su Yixiao were simultaneously moving on the White Tiger territory's Fengdu, a similar woman riding a celestial fire beacon came to the skies over the White Tiger. That woman was dressed in a silk brocade and a pleated skirt. A little bell hung upon her white wrist, letting out distinct noises whenever her hand moved. Her face was beautiful without makeup, bright as silver. Her eyes were almond-shaped, a fresh cutie. What was most impressive were that girl's boots. They were unlike Liangshan continent's common riding boots. Those boots did not go above the kneecap, and their colors were different. One was completely black with golden edges accompanied by shining moon decorations. The other boot was completely white with blue borders, adorned with the motif of the sun. This sun and moon were already the peak of beauty. Several fairies pulsed around the boots, adding a level of charm to the girl. Is this place the White Tiger territory? The young girl looked into the distance, vaguely spotting a tower reaching into the heavens. Very much like Maiden Mountain. Big Sis Qingzi said the White Tiger territory has sisters, but I wonder if that is true. I will go take a look then. Liked it? Su Xing was concerned about Shiyu's safety. It could not be helped that this was the White Tiger territory's domain, so they rushed through the night for Kaifeng. Along the way, he brainstormed how to draw out Han Bing and kill her. Su Xing was very clear that the more urgent things became, the more necessary it was for him to maintain his cool. If there was a direct confrontation, he simply was not Li Taisui's opponent right now. On the contrary, he would hurt Zhao Hanyan and the others. He was not without options. He could create a diversion to separate Li Taisui and Han Bing, then have Gong Sun Huang use her heaven rank to instantly kill. He would not be picky as long as he completed the objective. Su Xing was very clear that if Han Bing continued to live, they would completely be unable to kill her before the heavenly books. It would be best if the plan went without hitches. When they were about 100 li away from Kaifeng, the clouds in that direction suddenly surged. Purple chi rolled, a purple cloud east approaches. Su Xing halted their advance. He traded glances with Zhao Hanyan. His expression moved, and Su Xing escaped in that direction. Roar! A wretched shriek coldly reverberated in the sky. A purple dragon burst out of the purple clouds. It was none other than the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon, but its majesty seemed completely lost, as if it did not have its normal dragon chi. It seemed to be escaping from something in a panic. Behind the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon, a primal chaos approached, a net of lightning following close behind. When the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon saw Su Xing, it seemed to have found its savior and shouted, "Fellow, save me!" Woming Wankong had been forced to show his true body, and he fled towards Su Xing in a panic. At this moment, the despairing Woming Wankong saw the purple chi in Su Xing's hand and treated Su Xing as his savior. Of course, he was not expecting Su Xing's ability to save the situation. Woming Wankong planned to use this man as a shield to help him escape. The primal chaos rolled closer. It seemed to trap the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon in a bog. No matter how Woming Wankong struggled, he could not break free. Just as he was about to reach Su Xing, he suddenly heard a warm yet bone-chilling laugh. "Fellow, there is no need to run. Making contributions for the great king does not disgrace your name as a demonic king." The magnificent net of thunder and lightning pounced from behind and bound the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon. "Tai Sui, you traitor, may you die a terrible death." Woming Wankong struggled. The primal chaos covered him, and Woming Wankong was left with nowhere to run. With death at hand, Woming Wankong suddenly roared, spitting purple light towards Su Xing, "Fellow, I implore you, avenge me." The primal chaos receded. Woming Wankong had been devoured, and the skies returned to their normal brilliance, revealing a praying mat. It finally floated gently to an old man's hand. "Li Taisui." Su Xing's eyes narrowed, and his killing intent retracted. Li Taisui also saw Su Xing. He benevolently smiled, "Your Highness Purple Thunder, we meet again." Su Xing put on a fake smile. "It appears you are very busy, Li Taisui." Li Taisui laughed. He looked at Zhao Hanyan then back to Su Xing. "It appears that your Highness will not agree to this old man's request to unite and end these star duels? As long as you hand Han Bing over, I'll agree." Su Xing earnestly said. Li Taisui was very aware of what Han Bing had done. This old man cares not for her. "Senior Taisui, that is truly insincere." Su Xing sneered. "Purple Thunder Monster, you seem to be a bit unaware of your position." Li Taisui slightly smiled, not angered in the slightest. This old man has other matters and does not wish to move too much. Kaifeng is closed to visitors. This old man advises you go back. After the heavenly books, we shall settle our differences. In all likelihood, you will also have become this old man's opponent by then. Li Taisui spoke in a downplayed tone, the contempt in his words seemingly justified. Su Xing was not angry either. This is precisely the time. Woming Wankong has done something stupid. Li Taisui saw that demonic pellet in Su Xing's hand. Not saying anything more, he turned and flew towards Kaifeng, no longer bothering about Su Xing. Su Xing looked at the pearl in his hand. This was the demonic pellet of the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon, and his heart felt great surprise. A demonic pellet was a demon beast's life cast item. Su Xing could sense that purple-scaled magic cloud dragon's cultivation was exceptional. It should have been an outstanding character in the White Tiger territory. But from the movements just now, Li Taisui had surprisingly killed him. Just what was the White Tiger territory doing? Su Xing could not fathom this. Zhao Hanyan was also very confused. Internecine strife among the demon kin was honestly strange. It seems the Liao Emperor is messing with some array. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Master, shall we go now? Yan Yizhen asked. Of course we go. How can we let them do as they please? Su Xing sneered. He unceremoniously ingested this purple-scaled magic cloud dragon's demonic pellet. The purple-scaled magic cloud dragon was a purple chi dragon. It would be enormously beneficial for cultivating the purple star transforming chi. Thinking about it, this had to be the reason that Woming Wankong would force himself to offer up his own demonic pellet. This seemed to indeed be a desperate measure. I'll avenge you then. Su Xing muttered and waved his hand. A thick black mist parted to reveal a sinister monster. Even Zhao Hanyan wrinkled her brows when she saw it. This time, Su Xing would not hold back whatsoever. Ghost Cavalry King, soon you will go kill Han Bing. Su Xing said. The Ghost Cavalry King cackled. Are you finally willing to release this king? Insignificant demonkin. Watch how this king's attack leaves not a single piece of armor left. Han Yan, careful. Su Xing ordered. Junqing, you too. Zhao Hanyan and Dong Junqing nodded and smiled. Li Taisui descended into the connecting heaven pagoda. His praying mat turned and shook out the purple-scaled magic cloud dragon. In the array, there were also a great bright peacock, an ocean yaksha dragon, and a pale tiger. No one could have guessed these four demon beasts were the hegemons of the White Tiger territory from a few hours ago. In an instant, they had now become sacrifices. The four great demonkin were indeed powerful, making Yi Fudu and the others waste much of their energy. Even with the help of the Liao Emperor and their star generals, they barely managed to kill four ambushed demonic kings. However, that purple-scaled magic cloud dragon had already been prepared to run. Fortunately, Li Taisui immediately retrieved it. Are you doing this? The great bright peacock was at death's door, shuddering as she asked. Do you not wish to enter transforming star of annihilation? Yelu Wuxin calmly closed her book, leisurely saying, Then this king shall help you fulfill this wish. Soon you can see Star World. Roar, has that man come? Yelu Wuxin turned her head to gaze at the horizon. Aye. You stand guard. This king requires time to open the array. No one is to disturb me. Yelu Wuxin issued her orders and immediately beckoned with her hands. She changed and the light of the array shot into the sky. The four supervoid peak demon beasts were immediately absorbed into the array. Powerful magic energy endlessly poured into the formation. Seeing her use the four top-notch cultivators' magic energy as sacrifices to the array, Song Feng and the others were somewhat terrified. Li Taisui turned his head and descended the connecting heaven tower, beginning to issue his commands. This man came at the perfect time. Today, I shall star duel with him to the death here. Han Bing's tone showed some rare ripples. Zijin. Li Taisui cast a glance at her. Yang Zijin gently nodded. One hand gripped the hilt of her blade. Her face was as a dry well, without activity. Protect the great king. Do not allow anyone to enter Kaifeng. Kill all violators. Li Taisui gave the execution order. As you command. As they spoke, a 10,000 god-killing arrow shot towards the Liao Emperor. Xiang Nongmei's hands were quick. 10 hidden weapons activated, blocking the 10,000 god-killing arrow, but arrow after arrow flew over from the horizon. Little Li Guanghua Rong. 8 armed Neza Xiang Nongmei's hidden weapons were extremely quick, shooting out like black lotuses. The weapons endlessly intercepted the incoming arrows. This truly intolerable bullying, to surprisingly break ground above Tai Sui. Song Feng's expression was very unsightly. Li Tai Sui calmly smiled. Do not be distracted by this purple thunder monster. This monster is very crafty, not easy to handle. Xen Lao, you stay here and protect the great king. The rest guard other locations so as to avoid his diversions. Han Bing. Li Tai Sui looked at the ice woman. What are your orders, Tai Sui? Li Tai Sui smiled very warmly. Follow this old man to meet this purple thunder monster together. Han Bing nodded somewhat excitedly. Li Tai Sui's gesture was somewhat malevolent. He knew that the one Su Xing wanted to kill the most was Han Bing. Li Tai Sui would not let this purple thunder monster do as he pleased. He placed Han Bing at his side to bolster his fighting strength on the one hand, but also to divert Su Xing's attention on the other. A bolt of purple thunder slammed down. Without even looking, Li Tai Sui slapped this purple thunder apart with his paper fan. Purple clouds rolled like dragons and beasts, expanding. Su Xing, Gong Sun Huang, Zhao Hanyan, Dong Junqing, and Yan Yizhen appeared above the purple clouds. Spotting Han Bing, Su Xing's eyes narrowed. He thought to himself that this old man was indeed cruel. Everything had been planned very precisely. In all of the star duels, Su Xing's battle formation could not be said to be not stunning, but against Li Tai Sui and Yang Ziaijin, this nevertheless had no chance of winning. Little Huang, charge your heaven rank. Su Xing secretly ordered. Dragon in the clouds nodded. Using a heaven rank was not as simple using an earth, dark, or yellow rank. It required some time to prepare, requiring a star master's protection. Su Xing knew that this old man Li Tai Sui's abilities were exceptionally abnormal. Su Xing preemptively decided to settle things using Gong Sun Zhuqing's heaven rank. Su Xing and Yang Zijin's eyes carelessly locked. The expression of the latter was somewhat twinkling, a seemingly aged appearance. Purple Thunder Monster, you truly are bold. This place is the White Tiger territory. You surprisingly dare to be so arrogant. Do you think that you are unrivaled under heaven with Lin Chong and Wusong? Ling Feishue straddled poor Thunderclap. She shouted, aiming her flickering silent destruction star meteor cannons at Su Xing, don't waste your breath. Su Xing's hand pointed. 12 golden rainbows shot out. At the same time, his left hand pushed, and a continuous purple cloud moved. Simultaneously, Su Xing used the chaotic tail escape, rushing for Han Bing faster than Yan Yizhen and the others. But a beast's sense of smell was even faster. Yang Zijin's expression turned stern, her half-bestial birthmark revealed. Although she was somewhat favorable towards Su Xing, as Li Tai Sui's star general, Yang Zijin would not show mercy. You have made Zijin very disappointed. The woman softly said. She drew her saber. Tooth extraction. But just when Yang Zijin was certain she killed Su Xing, she suddenly spotted Su Xing's smile. What is happening? An incoming rainbow arrow answered blue-faced beast. A 7-colored rainbow trailed that arrow, expanding in all directions. It left Yang Zijin's saber and Ling Feishue's cannons helpless. Blue-faced beast's pupils shrunk. She saw far off in the distance the figure of a graceful woman. Sun-piercing heavenly rainbow. This is bad. Yang Zijin was startled for the first time. The two great martial generals Yan Yizhen and Dong Junqing exploited the sun-piercing heavenly rainbow to take Li Tai Sui's head. Swallow Flash Samsara. Yin Yang Cross Slash. Liked it? Kaifeng, the Longevity Palace 1,000 li away. Rat Star by Yutong was currently peacefully sleeping in Tang Lianxin's bosom. The little lowly's face was a bit pale. She had exhausted herself to finally brew a cup of Earth rank wine, Jade Lake Moon Dew. For other Earth rank, a couple uses of an Earth rank would not be anything noteworthy, but this made the lowly tired to death. She was like a little kitten snuggled against Tang Lianxin. Even the shy gold coin spotted leopard could not help but show pity. Originally, Bai Yutong should have been in Su Xing's star nest, but so as to not affect Su Xing's battle, she stayed at the Longevity Palace with Tang Lianxin and Shi Yuan looking after her. I never imagined there would surprisingly be such a tiny little sister among us. Shi Xiuxiu glanced at the dreaming Bai Yutong, showing a sad smile. Tang Lianxin did not say anything, but she turned to stare at Daredevil third brother. Do you hate elder brother? The solitary star expressionlessly asked. Elder brother, Shi Xiuxiu was surprised. Each of you call him different things. If your servant hated him, then your servant would spare no effort to kill him. Tang Lianxin nodded, apparently at ease with this answer. Shi Xiuxiu then asked how they came to know Su Xing. With so many star generals, it was hard for a person to not be curious. Even a fanatical battle maniac so strongly attached to martial arts was no exception. Apparently, only when they discussed her elder brother did the solitary star's apathetic eyes show a glint. Shi Xiuxiu could see that she truly loved her elder brother. Your servant is impressed with that man's righteousness, but in the star duels, there will be a time that hurts him. Shi Xiuxiu took a deep breath. Tang Lianxin shot her an ice-cold glare. Take what is happening right now for example. Shi Xiuxiu shook her head. Your servant feels he is too naive. This place is the White Tiger territory, the domain of the demon kin. Su Xing wants to kill Han Bing, but that Li Taisui is impossible to fight against with his power. If he had Lin Chong, Wu Song or some other wife, perhaps he would have some hope, but with his current strength, he will pay a price. To be able to make the formidable martial artist Daredevil third brother utter this kind of declaration, it was obvious that Li Taisui was a terrifying monster in her mind. In actuality, Shi Xiuxiu had not traded blows directly with Li Taisui more than a few times. By her martial general's instincts, she could sense that man's terrifying power the times that they did meet. Although it was somewhat embarrassing to say aloud, Shi Xiuxiu has fled from Li Taisui more than once. As far as Daredevil third brother was concerned, this was a disgrace. That Shiyu is only a star master, right? He can brave fire and water for her sake right now, but the star duels can only have one overlord at the end. As for ending the star duels, your servant does not believe it. Shi Xiuxiu twitched her lips. Xiuxiu, you are wrong. Su Xing will end the star duels for sure. Shi Yuan trotted over. When she heard Shi Xiuxiu's words, she strongly disapproved. Su Xing is the best star master I've ever seen. You just don't know how we got to this point. You do not have the qualifications to talk about Su Xing like this. Shi Yuan said unhappily. Even without big sister Ingmei, Su Xing will definitely save Shiyu. The corner of Shi Xiuxiu's mouth slightly curved. She nodded in approval and sipped her wine. She leisurely said, Then your servant wishes that you can get past this point as well? Outside Kaifeng City, purple clouds billowed, and thunder rolled. Li Taisui held the fan in his hand as he danced in the air. His movements were easy and smooth, each and every movement in complete unity with the world, impeccable. Hua Wanyue's arrow fired, and they erased as easily as brush strokes because of the airflow from the paper fan. Su Xing knew this old man was very defiant of the natural order. He had made psychological preparations, but he was still astonished. Using the cover of Hua Wanyue's sun-piercing heavenly rainbow, everyone avoided Yang Zijin and mounted a direct assault on Li Taisui. Even if they did not kill him, they would at least be able to make him feel a bit of difficulty, to show a gap, but this was unimaginable. Li Taisui used his paper fan to catch Yan Yizhen's swallow flash samsara. Against Dong Juanqing's yin-yang cross-slash, he gently waved, and a clap of thunder broke it. Then, Yan Yizhen used the dark rank snapped bowstring magnolia lily ballad that could dispel an opponent's powers, yet that, too, was easily broken by the old man. Unbelievable! Two powerful martial force star generals working together were surprisingly unable to so much as touch him. Instead, they were being suppressed. Su Xing cast a glance to see Zhao Hanyan currently battling Han Bing and Ling Feishue. The Ling Yan princess used her 100 outer void flying immortals swords to equally match against Han Bing and Ling Feishue. Kaifeng City, Heavenly Sacrifice Pagoda's spiritual power skyrocketed, as if it was about to rend the heavens. Who knew what that array was? In brief, it felt very much like the boss from a game. Su Xing wanted to blitz through the battle, yet Li Taisui was unexpectedly bogging down his progress. Zijin, kill them. Li Taisui waved his fan. The sound of thunder blasted. Yang Zijin attacked Su Xing. Yan Yizhen and Dong Junqing obstructed her. Little sister's ruthlessness is honestly making Junqing aroused on. How about you tussle with this general? Dong Junqing teased. The two spears in her hands did not hesitate to slash. It was a dark rank. Yang Zijin drew her blade. The collision of the weapons produced intense sparks, but just by relying on her powerful martial arts, Yang Zijin stopped Dong Junqing's dark technique. The steadfast star's expression was somewhat unsightly. Yang Zijin flashed away, turned a half step, and sliced in an extremely beautiful arc, forcing Dong Junqing back. Blue-faced beast advanced, but skillful star Yan Yizhen had already moved to intercept. The yin-yang carps swam around her palms. Her left hand was a chilling icy frost while her right hand was a scorching flame. Yin and yang intersected, and the area around Yan Yizhen seemed to bend to her will. Yan Yizhen shouted. The maid's apathetic vermilion eyes reflected the swimming yin-yang carps. These carps seemed to come to life, growing behind the skillful star. In an instant, the frost and flame spread out, covering Yan Yizhen. The maid's figure immediately proceeded with exquisite boxing. Dark rank boxing. 9e9 Yang life and death. The power of her fists launched towards Yang Zijin. Blue-faced beast's pupils contracted. The beast used her strongest draw to intercept. Dark saber technique. Heavenly dragon dancing. Yan Yizhen's 9e9 Yang life and death boxing was unmatched. Each punch shook space. Yin and yang flashed, not giving the target any room to escape. Yang Zijin's martial arts were very valiant. The saber chi of the dark rank saber technique Heavenly Dragon Dancing poured down like a storm. Relying on her superb realm and the sacrifice of her star beast, Yang Zijin intercepted Yan Yizhen's earth rank. Even the cold and detached maid could not help show surprise at this. Yang Zijin's sword stabbed. The extreme vast blue emperor saber sunk into little Yi's body like a fong. The woman spun again, and her saber technique and footwork combined. The little Yi who had just used her earth rank could not withstand this attack. Yang Zijin had wanted to dispatch the skillful star with another attack, but she was repelled by Hua Wanyue's arrow. However, the skillful star was heavily injured, so Yang Zijin paid her no further attention, rushing straight for Su Xing. When Su Xing, who had been engaged in battle against Li Taisui's thunder, saw this, his divine intent moved. The 12 heaven-tearing drew a golden rainbow as they twisted towards Yang Zijin. This general shall take you on. Dong Junqing shouted, her dragon phoenix yin-yang spears crying. Yang Zijin was somewhat surprised that she would not go protect her own star master, but blue-faced beast kept her composure, instantly drawing her blade. Clang! Snow-white saber light fell towards Dong Junqing's chest. What swift speed! Dong Junqing evaded the attack, slashing back with her spears. Yang Zijin nimbly leapt away past the spears. The chilling beast slashed behind her without even looking. Another bloody wound appeared on Dong Junqing's back. Dong Junqing never imagined this blue-faced beast would be so superior in martial arts. She herself was surprisingly unable to keep up with her attack speed. Immediately, Dong Junqing's embarrassment turned into fury. Junqing, calm down. And Suan's concerned voice came over. The divine physician pointed her hand and used earth-rank heart like still water. The heart like still water that could resist illusion could also simultaneously boost a star general's realm, making a star general maintain absolute calm during battle. As expected, Dong Junqing's impulsive mind immediately became more calm than a lake. Yang Zijin's movements did not seem so quick. Do not run. Dong Junqing gave chase. Yang Zijin's target was Su Xing. The beast that had bared her true fangs would not be stopped. Hua Wanyue's arrow volleys became increasingly concentrated, but she was unable to intercept. At this time, Su Xing used the purple star transforming chi and the purple mansion immortal thunder to stalemate against Li Taisui. Everyone was aware that a star master had become the greatest weakness. But Li Taisui's powers were honestly too defiant of the natural order, and he also had the blue-faced beast's innate skill. Treasure Blade is ageless. It could be said that his strength was arrogant across all of Liangshan continent. Even a star general would be hard-pressed. Heaven Tearing was unable to obstruct Yang Zijin's approaching attack. Just as she was about to draw near Su Xing, an arrow suddenly pierced out of Su Xing's chest and shot towards Yang Zijin. Blue-faced beast tilted her head, and the arrow grazed past her cheek. The blue-faced beast then shifted. The extreme vast blue emperor saber hacked a cold saber chi. Hua Wanyue gave up on archery and swapped to the red jade star-splitting short spear to defend in front of Su Xing. Do not think you can hurt my lord. Hua Wanyue's spearmanship was exceptional, and she used a howling and bloody dance. Although the hero star was known as the absolute in bow and spear, compared to blue-faced beast, her close combat was clearly very deficient. Saber chi flowed over her whole body, and Hua Wanyue could only barely respond. Her short spear was completely unable to contend against the 5-star blue emperor saber. In terms of weapons, the dominant Yang Zijin did not waste time in showing Hua Wanyue up. But Hua Wanyue grit her teeth and stubbornly refused to retreat. At this moment, Dong Junqing also caught up from behind. The steadfast star's pincer attack with Hua Wanyue formed a perfect combination, sealing any escape route. Yang Zijin's eyes flashed a careless admiration, but she acted without mercy. Her figure crouched and her power surged. Dragon fangs spread in all directions, and her attack became a dance. Heavenly dragon dancing. But Yang Zijin was honestly too powerful. Hua Wanyue and Dong Junqing together were surprisingly repelled. Su Xing was unable to sit by and watch. He spat essence blood and grabbed the dragon sparrow vermilion du long saber. With an escape technique, he carried Hua Wanyue away while Ensuan healed Dong Junqing. "Milord, be careful. This Yang Ji is very strong." The graceful woman was already showing injuries all over. Su Xing was distressed to see this. He stared at Yang Zijin, not daring to be neglectful. Yang Zijin was just about to continue when suddenly, she stopped and directed her gaze to Gong Sun Huang. At this moment, Leisure Star Dragon in the clouds finally opened the Heaven Rank runestone. An indescribable sense of danger overwhelmed even Yang Zijin. Heaven Rank. Torch Dragon extinguishing. Black Turtle Territory. Jinping Mei Waterfort. All of a sudden, the countertop shook. The Ruan mayor currently reading a picture book showed a quizzical expression. "Lady Fort Master, come quickly." A water fort disciple urgently came to deliver a message. The Ruan Jeaner who had her cultivation of the Hell Illusion Death Butterfly Sword interrupted disdainfully rose, and Ruan Mayor curiously followed along. Outside the water fort, countless disciples had raised their heads, gazing in a far-off direction. Across the bottomless Black Turtle Sea, they could vaguely glimpse a divine dragon rushing into the clouds, and then it vanished from sight. From the aura it emitted, it was surprisingly able to shake the entire Black Turtle Territory seas. Impossible, Heaven Rank. Ruan Jeaner was flabbergasted. Devil Star Palace. Headmaster says that is in the direction of the White Tiger Territory. Outside the Devil Star Palace, Elder Dried Bone narrowed his eyes. Su Xingxiang was astonished. What is happening in the White Tiger Territory to surprisingly manifest a Heaven Rank? Can it be that Liao Emperor is causing another commotion? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' face was gloomy, his eyes showing a near imperceptible glint. Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming glanced at one another, each of their expressions somewhat unsightly. For a Heaven Rank to surprisingly appear before the 3 heavenly books, this honestly was unnatural. "Lord Husband, shall we go take a look?" Su Xingxiang charmingly smiled. "That old man from the White Tiger Territory is unfathomable. We had better monitor the situation calmly. This Holy Lord can sense that the Purple Thunder Monster and those demonkin are locked in a life and death battle. We shall be the fisherman that catches the clam and the snipe." Although the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was very indignant that he was unable to personally kill Su Xing to vent his anger, he knew that a true loner had no chance of victory in the star duels. Regardless of what was happening in the White Tiger territory, for a heaven rank to appear, the most worrisome person should be the Purple Thunder Monster. And how could the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon have known that the user of the heaven rank technique was none other than Su Xing himself? Lowly Servant thought that perhaps the Purple Thunder Monster is currently in a star duel with the Demon Kin. Is Lord Husband really not going to look? Perhaps we can take a part. Su Xingxiang surmised. Impossible. The Purple Thunder Monster is acutely aware that the White Tiger territory's Star Masters are collaborating with the Liao Emperor. Did he go to the White Tiger territory to die? Even if he had something in the White Tiger territory, he would not be stupid enough to go star duel the Demon Kin. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon scoffed. His thinking was not wrong. From what happened in the Crystal Dragon Palace, the head of the White Tiger, Li Taisui, possessed the #1 magic weapon in Liangshan continent as well as the strongest martial general of this generation. No one would think to star duel such a frightening enemy on their home turf. Even if they were mortal enemies like fire and water, that would have to wait until after they bolstered their strength in the heavenly books. Su Xingxiang, the heavenly books will begin in several days. We should prepare for this first. Have you truly not considered advancing dual cultivation? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon sneered. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon had originally thought to exploit Su Xingxiang's dual cultivation to increase his strength, but he did not know how she was able to convince Devil Ancestor Dark Nether to change his ideas, to alter his plan for their dual cultivation. They changed to each of them training a set of yin-yang mystifying qi that complemented each other. Because the yin-yang mystifying qi required sharing magic energy, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon that originally possessed the absolute advantage in magic energy had no choice but to contribute a portion of his magic energy to Su Xingxiang. By doing so, the both of them broke through to Super Void early stage on the same level, making the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's heart very vexed. Lord Husband, Lowly Servant is making preparations and hopes Lord Husband understands. Su Xingxiang respectfully said. The Holy Lord of Draconic snorted but sneered. All of the star generals could perceive this power. At this moment, 3 territories were shaken together. Just as Shi Xiuxiu was chatting with Tang Lianxin, all of a sudden, the entire Bright Moon Longevity Palace shook violently. Immediately, Tang Lianxin's expression changed. The Longevity Palace was a deep-rooted treasure. Normal attacks were unable to so much as jolt the Longevity Palace, but now, the intense wobbling of the Longevity Palace was unprecedented. Bai Yutong was immediately shaken awake. The little lowly opened her bleary eyes, squinting. What is that? Shi Yuan gazed 1,000 li away. The sky in that faraway direction had become muddled, practically cleaving this world, deep as the abyss. Then, a gigantic, mountain-like dragon emerged from out of thin air. That divine dragon was so grand, brimming from head to tail with an inviolable, absolute dignity. Liangshan continent's dragons were simply as ridiculous as mudfish in its presence. Even from 1,000 li away, Shi Yuan was awestruck by the body of this enormous dragon. The White Tiger territory was in hysteria. Countless beasts fled, howled, and scattered in terror in all directions. Just its aura was enough to make the White Tiger's proud demonkin bolt away. That is the Leisure Star's heaven rank. Shi Xiuxiu sensed a star general's presence. Elder brother is using Gong Sun Zhuqing's heaven rank so soon. Tang Lianxin's brow locked tight. That old fart's dead for sure. What do you say, will Wu Hui blame us? Shi Yuan giggled, greatly relaxing. Now that the heaven rank appeared, no one should be able to face them, right? It was only after the 3 heavenly books that a star general could raise their realm high enough to withstand a heaven rank, but right now, there were no heavenly books. It was at this time that a heaven rank had no equal. However, Yuana was unaware that Gong Sun Zhuqing's heaven rank runestone was consuming vast amounts of star energy. This was also supposed to have brought about a situation where the twin assassins of Xuanla Feifei were dispatched without even a chance to retaliate. It is still too early to be happy. Shi Xiuxiu paused and then continued to drink wine. The divine dragon that lived only in myth was summoned by Gong Sun Huang. Not only was Su Xing flabbergasted, even Li Taisui and the others were dumbstruck. Heaven rank. Li Taisui's eyes were grim. A dragon's roar blew away the white dragon territory's forest and seas. The earth trembled, and the ancient torch dragon displayed its powerful might, opening its jaws. It seems you have received many a favor, purple thunder monster. Not bad, only with this do you have the qualifications to battle this old man. Li Taisui was not afraid. His expression facing the torch dragon's extinguishing made Su Xing's hair stand on end. Just what was the background of this old man? Purple clouds and thunder vanished before the torch dragon. Li Taisui pointed his finger. The good fortune prayer mat flew out. Liangshan Continent's #1 spirit treasure, the good fortune prayer mat, spun in the air. A zone of primordial chaos formed, trapping the torch dragon. The torch dragon loosed an ancient flame to burn through this primordial chaos, but this good fortune prayer mat was incomparably awesome. Under the support of Li Taisui's endless magic energy, the area of the primordial void was boundless, trapping the infinite torch dragon inside. The world-shocking torch dragon was surprisingly completely unable to wield its power. Su Xing cursed to himself when he saw this. This old man was too abnormal. Gong Sun Huang's forehead dripped with sweat. Using the heaven rank similarly required her star energy to maintain the torch dragon's existence. Seeing that the torch dragon was helpless, Su Xing was unable to wait any further. His palm swept, and a colored glass lantern appeared. Go! Su Xing chanted. The 5 dragons' lanterns' flames blossomed, and 5 9-clawed golden dragons flew out in succession, attacking the primordial chaos. Li Taisui's expression turned grave, and he chanted continuously. The good fortune primordial chaos continuously changed. The 5 dragons surged inside the primordial chaos, flipping. The might of 5 true dragons was not inferior to the torch dragon. Soon after they had started, Su Xing and Li Taisui dueled with their strongest magic weapons. Slowly, Li Taisui could no longer afford to be relaxed. He weaved his hand seals faster and faster, and the extensive primordial chaos became even tighter, but a few cracks were blown into it by the torch dragon. Just as it was about to collapse, Gong Sun Huang could sustain it no more. Her star energy was completely unable to control the heaven rank, and to maintain it for so long was already her limit. The girl groaned, and she spat a mouthful of blood. The dragon bellowed, finally vanishing into nothingness. Su Xing's eyes narrowed, urging on the 5 dragons' lantern at full power. The 5 dragons' Buddhist light glowed, illuminating the primordial chaos. They slammed around it continuously, and the cracks increased in number. One golden dragon was devoured by the primordial chaos. Then another. The third. The fourth. After the good fortune prayer mat consumed 4 golden dragons, Li Taisui was finally unable to bear the might of the 5 dragons' lantern. The last 9-clawed golden dragon slammed apart the primordial chaos, and the good fortune prayer mat returned to its original form, its surface charred by the torch dragon's extinguishing. It had been surprisingly burnt to ash. Li Taisui's expression changed. The golden dragon immediately pounced with bared fangs and claws. Liked it? Seeing that the magic weapon he had been so proud of was surprisingly annihilated, anger boundlessly emanated from Taisui's body. He opened the paper fan, and the last golden dragon of the 5 dragons' lantern was disintegrated by a bright thunderbolt before Li Taisui's eyes. Su Xing cursed. How was this old man so strong? Although the last 9-clawed golden dragon of the 5 dragons' lantern had been greatly weakened by the primordial chaos, it was not so much that it could be instantly vanquished by a flick of this old man's fan. The heaven rank had merely destroyed Li Taisui's strongest magic weapon. Su Xing suddenly felt enormous pressure. Your Highness! Gong Sun Huang's whole body collapsed onto Su Xing's chest. Little Huang, rest for now. Leave the rest to me. Su Xing softly said. Gong Sun Huang grunted. But she did not enter the star nest at all. Instead, floated away from Su Xing, What other tricks will you use? Li Taisui's smile had vanished. An ice-cold glare was in his eyes. Su Xing smiled, not daring to be careless. He wrapped himself in old pig's yellow gown of coronation. The full and gorgeous dragon-patterned king's robe sparkled with golden light. A true dragon swam beside Su Xing, adding to his kingly aura. Even Li Taisui could not help but take notice of this extraordinary attire. This robe actually makes this old man's eyes brighten. You are not like a monster, more like those saints, rather. Li Taisui faintly smiled. But you still will not be able to obstruct this old man just by relying on this robe. As he spoke, a bolt of thunder appeared. That thunderbolt was like a beast, manifesting various forms, filling the entire area. The meditative mind lotus flowers similarly bloomed behind Su Xing. Buddhist light glowed, the golden lotus blossomed, a transcendental scene. This contrast of stillness and action was subtle. This poetry was then broken by a shake of Li Taisui's fan. Thunder rolled, striking the lotus flower. Electric arcs tore at it, ripping the blossoming lotus flower to shreds. The remaining lightning twisted directly towards Su Xing. Su Xing knew that his own advantage was in combat innate skills, like a star general. To battle against Li Taisui, who had a cultivation that was higher by a level, was unmistakably unwise. The thunder covering the heavens made Su Xing's escape technique completely useless. Gripping the dragon sparrow long saber, Su Xing shot forward. The pale blade light shattered the attacking thunder. The rest of the astral thunder was dispelled by the king robe. Li Taisui's left hand tightened, gracefully gripping the fan. A sweep. Something sank. The space in front of him immediately sank, trapping Su Xing within. Millions of star thunders fell into the abyss. Thunder and fire exploded, and the lotus flower faded away. A figure charged out of the thunder, flying straight above Li Taisui. Dragon blood frontline. Su Xing fell. The plain fan surprisingly blocked the dragon sparrow long saber's blade. The dark technique dragon blood frontline exploded around Li Taisui, and the blade light was like densely packed dragon scales. A careful look would show that the torrential saber chi had been isolated outside. Such an impervious armor locked Su Xing's attack outside. A good blade. Li Taisui raised the paper fan, pushing Su Xing away. Su Xing's left palm struck, using instant frost flame. Instant frost flame could freeze magic weapons and abilities in an instant. The extreme cold was no less than that of the 10,000-year black ice. Li Taisui's pupils contracted, and the fan continued gusting without stop, once again rolling out a bolt of thunder magic. This thunder magic was nevertheless unable to break instant frost flame. After this thunder magic was frozen, the frost flame fell towards Li Taisui's head. An ordinary supervoid cultivator of Liangshan continent would perhaps suffer misfortune here, but this Li Taisui honestly was the most terrifying opponent Su Xing had ever seen. The old man's expression was unflustered, his actions neither fast nor slow. Though he seemed very slow, by the time Su Xing noticed, Li Taisui had already avoided instant frost flame, wielding his fan. The frost was blown away. What a pity you cannot attack Maiden Mountain together with this old man. Li Taisui's expression seemed as if he was looking at a shattered valuable. Elder should just take a rest, too much fighting is bad for you. Su Xing smiled and said. Li Taisui smiled. Youngster, this old man has yet to use full strength. Your servant too. Su Xing said matter-of-factly. If anybody else heard this, they would probably have been enraged to death. The battle between two top-notch magic weapons was enough to make any star master turn pale, but these two were surprisingly talking about not having used full power yet. It was unbelievable, but it was the truth. Why have Wu Song and Lin Chong not appeared yet? Li Taisui asked. They have their own plans. The 1,000-year top martial generals made Li Taisui feel fear. Seeing them absent made Li Taisui decide to settle the battle quickly. If he could get rid of the purple thunder monster this way, then Wu Song and Lin Chong were undoubtedly dead. This clearly was a perfect opportunity. If it was during normal times in single combat, to be frank, this indeed made Li Taisui very uneasy. Thinking rapidly, Li Taisui's tongue burst with spring thunder, and he bellowed. Inside a range of 100 li, thunder rolled. Thunder moves 9 heavens. Meanwhile, the first thought Yang Zijin had after she was finished being in awe of the heaven rank was to go kill Su Xing. Although she had let Su Xing go some time ago due to various circumstances, that time was purely a personal reason, purely because she felt this man was truly unlike other Star Masters, that he was capable of ending the star duels. But this time was not like the other. As the proudest martial general, Yang Zijin had the honor of a martial general. Since she was Li Taisui's star general, when the two began their star duel, Yang Zijin would also make a best effort. If Su Xing recklessly died under her blade at this moment, it only illustrated that this man was not as mature as she had imagined. He would have only come to the White Tiger territory to die. Hua Wanyue and Dong Junqing naturally knew they could not allow Su Xing and this abnormally powerful blue-faced beast to enter a direct confrontation. The two girls gave it their all to obstruct Yang Zijin's progress. One was the ranked 9th star general who was the absolute of bow and spear, and the other was one of the Heavenly Star's 5 tiger generals. Even Yang Zijin could not face them so easily. One fight was 100 bouts. Dragon flying phoenix dancing. Dong Junqing was forced to use her earth rank. The double spears attacked Yang Zijin's white robes directly, the dragon and phoenix intertwining. Spatters of blood blossomed one after another, but Dong Junqing was not surprised, nevertheless. On the contrary, she became even more grim. She sensed that her earth rank was not bringing Yang Zijin major injury at all. This beast's realm was far superior to her own. Even when she struck directly, Yang Zijin seemed to have enough ability to dissipate the attack. Damn it, this lesson was somewhat dangerous. Yang Zijin's eyes were ice cold. Her right hand gripped her sword's hilt, and killing intent concentrated on the blade. Lastly, she returned to her usual self, as still as water. This tranquil presence contrarily made Dong Junqing feel extreme danger. Hua Wanyue spun around in midair, gracefully hovering. The lightning-fast short spear in her hands already turned into the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow. The woman elegantly drew the bow, elegantly took aim, and elegantly fired her arrow. At this critical moment, Hua Wanyue's attack was smooth and flowing. She was practically painting. Powerful killing intent bounded out from her bow, full of an insufferably arrogance as it drilled into Yang Zijin's chest. 10,000 Li God-killing arrow. The arrow produced a loud sound as it pierced into Yang Zijin's heart, the killing intent practically chewing the beast apart. Even from a million li away, the 10,000 Li God-killing arrow could shoot through a cultivator's heart, let alone a point-blank shot. For the sake of killing this terrifying beast, Hero Star Little Li Guang Hua Wanyue and the steadfast Star General of Double Spears Dong Junqing had practically given it their all. They were already unbearably exhausted. Add on Little Yi's earth rank from before, Yang Zijin alone had taken 3 Heavenly Stars attacks. Even this beast would be dead, right? When the killing intent dispersed, a cruel fact was uncovered. In fact, Dark Star Yen Zijin's body was covered in wounds. Her white robes had been torn to countless shreds, but there was one other fact. Yang Zijin still emitted a powerful presence, those eyes of hers seemingly locked onto prey. Her right hand clasped her saber's hilt, and then without even the slightest change. Not good. Dong Junqing's surprise changed. Hua Wanyue was similarly astonished. A moving smile flit across the corner of Yang Zijin's lips. The beast's fangs were finally bared. The sword was drawn. The tranquil saber chi suddenly revolted like a torrential storm. The tusk-like saber chi enveloped the area of 1,000 meters around Yang Zijin's body. Every stalk of grass, every tree, every speck of dust and earth could not easily escape. Hua Wanyue and Dong Junqing naturally could not break away. They would die here. The heavens and the earth in this area seemed to have been shattered by Yang Zijin. This was the earth-rank saber technique of the 5-star vast blue emperor saber, depleting heaven, shattering earth. Song Feng and 8-armed Nezixiang Nongmei stood guard outside Kaifeng. He watched Li Taisui and Su Xing's battle from far away. He seemed to have no intent to involve himself. The purple thunder monster surprisingly came here to die. This is truly unprecedented. Could it be he actually is doing this for that woman Star Master? He cannot be so naive, can he? Song Feng muttered to himself, still perplexed after much thought. He originally thought that Su Xing and Li Taisui were the same, merely exploiting the surrounding Star Masters for an early alliance in the Seven Stars Assembly. However, now it appeared this was not the case. After that Shi Yu was stricken with Han Bing's terrified to the bone, Song Feng knew that the best way to dispel it was to destroy that piece of Han Bing's soul, or to kill her. But Song Feng felt that killing Han Bing in the White Tiger territory was a joke. He never imagined that this joke would surprisingly actually take the stage. Of course, he did not rule out that this purple thunder monster was overly arrogant. Perhaps he was thinking of borrowing Chao Gai's power to face the Liao Emperor's array. As Song Feng's imagination ran wild, due to his reverence and curiosity about Li Taisui's strength, he merely watched the world burn as he pondered like anybody else. Young master, is this fine? Xiang Nongmei actually felt this was not good. We may actually be hindrances if we go. Song Feng's thinking was very thorough. Li Taisui and the purple thunder monster, either one was a formidable character. A smart person would only wait for these two to exhaust and injure each other. The good fortune prayer mat has also been destroyed. Perhaps the heavens are helping me. Song Feng laughed. Xiang Nongmei wrinkled her brow, apparently understanding Song Feng's thinking. Lin Chong, Wu Song, Wu Yong, as well as that Hu Sanyang have not appeared yet. I fear they are waiting in the surroundings. There is some plot. We need only stand on guard. By the time they appear, we will not delay in action. Song Feng said. He naturally did not believe that the purple thunder monster would come to the White Tiger territory without his strongest martial generals in tow. Xiang Nongmei nodded, playing with the hidden weapons in her hands. All of a sudden, the girl's ears perceived something. Someone is approaching. Ling Chong? Song Feng was taken aback, for there was suddenly pressure. Fortunately, Song Feng had immediately discovered the intruders. They were two young women who were not even supervoid stage. There were also two more young girls in accompaniment. Star Master and Star General. These star duels are truly very interesting. For such a weak Star Master to dare venture into the White Tiger territory, could it be that the White Tiger territory has no deterrent power? Song Feng narrowed his eyes. Nongmei, we have things to do. As you command, young master. Xiang Nongmei finally had her interest piqued. Liked it? Was that a heaven rank just now? Su Yixiao asked sacred-handed scholar Xiao Qingyan. The graceful woman nodded. Why would a heaven rank appear in the White Tiger territory? Su Yixiao was confused, her face showing a worried expression. Sikong Chuha turned back and smiled. Little sister need not worry. I assume this heaven rank is most likely related to the purple thunder monster. Su Yixiao gasped in surprise, puzzled as to the reason. Sikong Chuha's reasoning was actually very simple. As the prodigy of these star duels, the purple thunder monster had already thoroughly changed the situation of these star duels. Since he could contract with so many star generals, then Sikong Chuha was actually not very perplexed that a star general would comprehend heaven rank before the heavenly books. That ancient torch dragon's power just now made them feel shaken, minuscule. For even the White Tiger territory to tremble at this type of powerful magic could only come from the hand of Maiden Mountain's strongest magic energy star general, the Leisure Star. The purple thunder monster perhaps saw the might of Li Taisui at the Dragon Palace banquet, so he led Lin Chong and the rest to invade the White Tiger territory to get rid of this disaster early. This purple thunder monster is very smart. Sikong Chua slightly smiled. Su Yixiao agreed. Then shall we go? Xiao Qingyan spoke. Her star beast blank space swam around her. Go, why not got? That White Tiger old man is also an anomaly. If they are fighting one-on-one, then I believe the purple thunder monster is not his opponent. And this place is also the domain of the White Tiger territory's demon kin. If the purple thunder monster dares take action, then he must be prepared to fight to the death. Either one of them will inevitably be seriously injured. Sikong Chuha paused. When she saw hesitation in Su Yixiao's eyes, that she was swallowing back her words, "Little sister, what is the matter?" To be quite honest, Yixiao and Su Xing have no enmity. Qin Yan even painted a portrait for Lin Shong and Hua Rong, but that is not finished yet. Su Yixiao said hesitantly. Sikong Chuha's face showed bewilderment, muttering to herself if this purple thunder monster was a love saint. How was even Su Yixiao involved with a somewhat ambiguous relationship with him? To cause trouble? How could he have no hostility at any time during the star duels? As she thought this, Sikong Chuha smiled and said, "Little sister does not understand, the White Tiger Territory demon kin are not humans after all. I said before that even if the purple thunder monster had Lin Shong and Wu Song in the demonkin's domain, he will not be able to take any advantages in a star duel against the White Tiger 7 spirit stars. We shall monitor the situation from the side. When the time comes, perhaps we will help him." "Oh, right, the purple thunder monster's name is Su Xing." Su Xing, Su Xingin. This truly is a name connected to the star duels. Sikong Chuha was ambiguous, showing no weak spots. Su Yixiao thought this as well. As the two approached the demonic capital of Kaifeng, the rolling battle of thunder from far away became more visible. "Chuha, Yixiao, look out!" Suddenly, Shan Menger and Xiao Qinyan called out at the same time. Several dozen throwing knives appeared like ghosts, flying over from the surroundings. The approach of these hidden weapons was sudden. Even the two most astute and shrewd young women did not anticipate this. Even their star generals who possessed excellent danger perception failed to perceive this. The heavenly river divine colt's hooves splashed with waterlight as it first overturned the sneak attacking throwing knives. Shan Menger raised the flying shower falling star spear and attacked as swift as lightning. Two throwing knives were cut down by the spear. Xiao Qingyang's hand gripped the 4-star life-managing black bamboo wolf brush. Because of her star beast blank space, her drawing speed was extremely quick, faster than the hidden weapons. Her penmanship astonishingly finished a yellow rank painting first. White Mind single point. The brush fell, and a white light flashed in the surroundings that completely stopped all of the throwing knives. But the danger had not yet passed. At the same time these throwing knives were launched, a figure already approached at high speed. A spear of flame attacked, bringing in smoldering fire beacon. Watch yellow technique, chariot fuel. The trick of a bug. Shan Menger wielded her spear. The heavenly river divine colt pounced at the incoming spear, splashing waves. Spear light flashed. Yellow technique. Horse stamping flying wave approach. The flaming spear and the flying shower spear connected. Suddenly, water and fire clashed, but it was clear that Shan Menger's martial arts were stronger. Then, the heavenly river divine steed's ability immediately broke the opponent's spear attach. Immediately afterwards, the gentle and leisurely Shan Menger changed from her previous warmth. She skillfully stabbed her spear towards the enemy's chest. The water flowing on the spear astonishingly spiraled, like a dragon, making the spear's power suddenly swift and fierce mid-attack. Dark technique. Time flows like water. What a general of sacred water. The other party praised. The spear's power twisted directly like a storm. Shan Menger's determined attack still missed. An Arhat Vajra shield appeared in front of her, immediately dispersing her attack. Dark rank shield technique. 100 beast obstruction. A series of crisp bangs resounded, just like pearls clattering against a jade try. Water flows like time merely knocked away the opponent's attack. Shan Menger showed the style of a brilliant martial general's. Just as she was about to pursue, a severe wind suddenly blew in her face. This storm was like 1,000 blades, very powerful. Shan Menger immediately was blown away, and when her heavenly river divine colt saw that its mistress was in danger, it bravely shielded her and was torn to shreds by the storm. Sparrow Flame Talisman. Countless fire sparrows flew out from Shan Menger's back, exploding into bursts of flame in midair. Only then did she destroy the approaching storm. The battle took place in the blink of an eye, and in this instant she had already experienced life and death. Be careful, Su Yixiao said. For the moment, the battle was lulling. At this time, both sides had a chance to size up the enemy. Song Feng was high above, showing the tyrannical might of a supervoid cultivator but his elegance as well. A normal woman would be afraid if not charmed. Unique Star General of Sacred Water Shan Tingge. Literature Star Sacred-Handed Scholar Xiao Rang. Song Feng smiled. To surprisingly encounter one martial and one literary star general, Song Feng is fortunate. Song Feng cupped his fist and slightly smiled. No wonder, unique star general of sacred water. Xiang Nongmei was a bit disheveled, gloomily twitching her lips. She had just unleashed her hidden weapons in succession, yet her omnidirectional ambush failed to gain an advantage. Her surprise attack had instead resulted in her being pushed back. This made the 8-armed Neza unable to help but look again at that serene woman. Elder sister truly is beautiful. Xiang Nongmei smiled and said. The Shan Menger dressed in blue and white water-patterned clothes seemed like a bright and gentle young lady at first glance, especially her eyes that were so lovely and touching. If it was not for the lesson in her might just now, Xiang Nongmei perhaps would have been captivated. Has the purple thunder monster come? Sikong Chuha indifferently said. What, are you here to die with him in the name of love? Song Feng mockingly said. Just what powers does that purple thunder monster have to surprisingly make so many beautiful people follow him to death? Your servant truly is jealous. Shaking his head, Song Feng's smile suddenly became much more savage. Then your servant shall oblige you. Song Feng disdained any talk of false friendship. Seeing them appear, his heart was already certain that the purple thunder monster had come prepared, as expected. So as to avoid side issues, Song Feng did not hesitate to activate his cool breeze pouch, using his powers at the same time. 1000 Cuts Astral Wind. The astral wind was like a blade, slicing the trees and forest to pieces. Su Yixiao and the others did not dare face a super void cultivator head-on. Xiao Qingyan and Shan Menger were coordinated, bearing the brunt of the attack. Compared to a Star Master, a Star General's advantages were clear. Bastard! Song Feng cursed. The Star General's attack signified that the Star Masters had lost their final layer of defense. 2 non-supervoid stage Star Masters. With the vast disparity between their cultivations, Song Feng truly was a bit disapproving. Xiang Nongmei immediately nodded her head. Her star-slashing flying daggers flew out at once. Su Yixiao showed an alarmed expression. She immediately retreated backwards, yet she slyly noticed Sikong Chuha's knowing expression. This sort of expression was very familiar. This was exactly the same as when they killed that old demon, Lord of 10 Words. 1. Su Xing's name is a pun of, which is, Star of Destiny, a unique star tied to each person's fate. Right arrow curving left 7. Is Ling Qi, the so-called Death by 1000 Cuts. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.